Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Pete Carroll wants to coach again. Should he coach the Jets? We'll talk about that and much more when Jets reporter Nick Faria joins us in his weekly spot on the show. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
But I'm just saying here, setting the record straight. This show is about positivity and having a good time and yucking it up. I love this show. I do this shit for free.
Yeah.
We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. It is indeed the Jake Asman Show. Hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas holiday. Merry Nickmas to all my fellow Nick fans. That was awesome to be at yesterday at the Garden. And, of course, a big thank you to everyone who listened to the radio show this morning from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'm back at it again tomorrow, same time, 6 to 10 and then all next week until Friday. So you get plenty of me in the morning, and we'll continue to do at least one YouTube show every day after that. Joining us right now in his weekly spot on the show is Jets beat reporter for Athlon Sports, Nick Faria. Nick, always appreciate your time, my man. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy to be on.
So we got a lot to talk about. I want to start with the report yesterday from Adam Schefter that Pete Carroll not only wants to coach, but he's even expressed interest in the Chicago Bears job. And then in the article, it mentions the Jets as another team that potentially would be intriguing for Pete Carroll. So let's start with just your thoughts on that. Pete Carroll interested in coaching. What's your reaction?
Yeah, so I think the first bit that Schefter reported, of course, is his interest in the Chicago Bears. And I think with most incoming coaches that are going to want the head job of certain teams that are available, the Bears are going to be an attractive job. They've got some solid offensive pieces. Number one overall pick in Caleb Williams, a defense that is very talented. So that part makes sense. The question, of course, is going to be Pete Carroll coming back to the Jets potentially. How badly does he want a coaching job? Is he going to want any job in the world where he'll even consider a team like the Saints for a couple of seasons? Would he be interested in coming back to the East Coast? I find that all very hard to believe. First off, 73 years old. You are seeing older coaches with a lot of experience get pushed aside in these last couple of windows. You look at Bill Belichick, essentially had to go and coach in college because there wasn't enough of a market for him in the National Football League anymore. Why would Pete Carroll be any different if he's just only 3-4 years younger than Belichick? So very hard to believe that he will be a serious contender for this overall role, at least at this point. Maybe if the Jets are denied a couple of different times by some of their top guys, maybe they sort of kick the tires. I'm sure they will try to interview him because they don't want to leave any stone unturned. But at the end of the day, it's a nice little, hey, what if Pete Carroll came back to New York? Do you think he'd be ready this time? But at the end of the day, I just think this team needs something a little bit different than an older coach that's only going to be here for 3-4 years. And then you're going to have to do this coaching search all over again.
I think it only makes sense if maybe you're turned down by a couple guys.
Right.
And maybe the plan is we want to run it back with Aaron Rodgers, and Pete Carroll is viewed as the guy that would make sense. He'd fix the defense. He'd hire a good staff. And maybe you make one more run at it. I think it's unlikely as well, but I don't hate the idea of at least talking to the guy. Like, I don't think the Jets should be in any position to basically, thumb their nose at any candidate given what this season has been. And you never know what you might learn from talking to a guy like Pete Carroll. I think ideally Pete Carroll being involved in your organization in some capacity is a good thing. I don't know if he'd have any interest in that, but I'm at least talking to him. Your thoughts there?
100%. You should not be turning down any conversation, including Rex Ryan. I mean, we've talked about how ludicrous it would be if Rex Ryan's the head coach, but at the end of the day, it makes sense for the Jets to talk to him as well. You want as many ideas coming into this conversation as possible. But at the end of the day, it's still the top guys for me have not changed to this point. Todd Monken, Joe Brady, obviously Vrabel is going to be up there as well. So again, I don't see how any of those names change just because Pete Carroll wants to get back into coaching again.
You brought up Vrabel. Have you come around on Vrabel at all? Where does Vrabel rank on your list?
Probably 3. I think he's still number 3 for me. Top is Todd Monken. What he has done for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson is fantastic. And like I've said, Jake, you and I have debated this. I am looking for an offensive-minded coach at every single sense. At this point, I need a guy who can develop a quarterback. Give me Monken over any other guy as of right now. I love what Brady has done transforming Buffalo's offense as well. Young guy, needs a veteran defensive-minded coach as well to help pair with him to fix that defense. But I still think that's the overall trajectory of how you go and build a consistent winner year in and year out.
You like Monken. You like Joe Brady. Your thoughts on Liam Cohen as another name to consider if you're talking about the offensive-minded coach?
So, yeah, I go tier 1 of coaches that I think, no doubt, run it to the bank. Awesome. This is a great hire is Brady and Monken. Tier 2 is really good hire. Can't go wrong here is Vrabel. 3, you got your Cohens specifically. Listen, there's a personal connection here with Cohen. He went to my high school. He's from Rhode Island. Great guy from all I've heard. Far older than I am, at least in that regard. And I like what he's done at NFL teams. I also acknowledge that Tampa Bay's offense has not taken that same jump this season as they did last year. Now, a lot of it has to do with injuries. Some of it has to do with ineffective quarterback play at times. The defense hasn't been as good. But still, that's kind of where I put Cohen, at least right now. That third of, hey, wasn't our top guy, still a solid hire, can do a lot of good things overall.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Jets beat reporter Nick Faria in his weekly spot on the show. If you have any questions for Nick, super chat it in. It will go first and cut the line. And as we've done all month long, we're doing giveaways as a thank you for supporting the channel. We have given away, all sorts of items so far, from jerseys to merch items to Gusbuster umbrellas, Copper John gift cards. Our next big-time giveaway prize is the replica New York Jets Super Bowl III championship ring. So for every raffle ticket or every membership gifted, you get a raffle ticket with your name on it. You want to be a Jet Super Bowl champion? You want a Joe Namath, I should add, Super Bowl III replica championship ring? Well, guess what? You have a chance to win it if you gift a membership, and for every membership you gift or every $20 super chat, you get the requisite amount of tickets. So there you go. That's our next big time prize. Let's go, baby. Super Bowl III champs.
That is so
Might be the closest I ever get to being a Super Bowl winner as a Jet fan, Nick. I don't know.
You never know, man. Turnarounds can happen pretty quick. I didn't think we were anywhere. The Eagles were anywhere close to a title in 2013, 2014. 2-3 years later, they were hoisting a Lombardi. So these turnarounds can happen quick.
Yo Holmes says, I love Faria. Everything opposite, he says, is a great idea. Your thoughts on that? Should the Jets do the opposite of whatever you suggest?
I mean, okay, so don't hire Vrabel. Don't hire Todd Monken. Don't hire any of the top guys that I'm saying. That's fine.
I do feel like, wasn't Vrabel lower on your list like a week ago or 2 weeks ago whenever we had that big debate?
I think it's tier 2, tier 3. I've never had him in the top tier. I've been steadfast to that. My top fits are Monken and Brady.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first person to be in on the gifting today is Jeffrey R. Jeffrey with a 5-spot. Jeffrey wants a Super Bowl ring.
It's the Asmaniac membership raffle. For every membership gifted, you receive 1 ticket entered in the raffle to win epic prizes.
If you hear your name called, these are from Jeffrey R. Sean David, 10. Heavyweight, Drub Cabra, Mike Roch, and Karen Larson, all receiving channel memberships. All right, Nick, you look at this game Sunday now. Jets taking on the Buffalo Bills. Devontae Adams did not practice today. If they had a practice, dealing with some sort of, I believe, hip injury. Aaron Rodgers would have been a full participant if they had practice. Your thoughts on what the Jets are going to be looking like going into this game Sunday against the Bills? Last I checked this morning on radio, they were a 9-point road underdog going to Buffalo.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty, at least right now. Bills win, locks them into the second seed. They're definitely going to want that matchup, whether it's Denver, whether it's the Chargers, whoever it is eventually. They're definitely going to want that second seed and get that home field until the conference championship game. It's just not pretty. The defense isn't playing well. The offense has been inconsistent. You've got whatever's going on with Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. These two guys clearly – they have to communicate a lot better. There's clearly a disconnect between the two. So I look at it as, hey, another opportunity for the Jets to lose the game and improve their draft stock. That's really all you can do right now. If they win, it's great. You pull off an upset against a playoff team. But if they lose, you're helping your team in the long run.
I saw this from Boy Green, who ran like the simulator with the draft scenarios. If the Jets, finish with no wins or if they go 1-1, whatever the case might be, if the Jets win out, which I think is unlikely, I don't think they're going to win Sunday. I'm just saying it. I'm saying this for those who are rooting for the tank. If the Jets win out, right, they win their next two, the lowest they would pick, you want to guess where that would be? Like the type of quote-unquote damage the Jets could do to their draft positioning if they win 2 games?
Isn't it like 8?
It's 10, which at that point, knowing that, I want to win both games. Screw Buffalo and screw Miami. I hope Miami is somehow alive for a playoff spot that last game, so the Jets have a chance to stick it to them. That'd be awesome. But I don't know. When I saw that from Boy Green, I was like, really? Look, I don't think they're going to win both games, but I'm rooting for wins still. Knowing that they can only fall to 10 at the lowest and they're 8 right now, why not? Screw it. I'm rooting for wins.
Well, I will say, if you get to 10, it takes you out of the Abdul Carter, the defensive tackle from Michigan. I'm blanking on his name right now. It takes you out of the top best available players. And I think that's why you are absolutely trying to go for a top 5 pick, which is possible for the Jets if they lose their last 2 games and they get some help along the way. It is still possible that the Jets could conceivably get a top 5 pick, get a top best player available player, whether it's offensive line, defensive line, or even potentially a quarterback. I think that's the best way to go moving forward.
Look, I don't think they're going to win Sunday. And but against Miami and the Cold, that's a winnable game. I mean, that is a winnable game with Tua and the Cold, especially if they're playing for nothing.
It is. And very well, they could be playing for nothing. We may not have Tyreek Hill in that game. He's been battling injury. Is this his last year in Miami? A lot of questions there. So potentially, yes. Realistically, this team struggles to beat like the Jacksonville Jaguars and Mac Jones. So I have a hard time believing they absolutely can.
But just knowing that 10 is the lowest they'll be, like, that makes you feel a little better, Yeah,
listen, top 10 pick, you can get a great player. You can get a blue chip talent. I just think there's a little bit of a drop-off, at least right now in the early scouting process, of top 5 to top 10 players overall.
I just don't think, by the way, like, we can even play the game of, they'll miss out on this player because, like, unless it's the quarterbacks. Like last year, there were Jet fans who were panicked over beating New England in Belichick's last game. It's going to cost them a chance to get Alt or Olu. Well, they got Olu, and thank God they got great news on Olu that his injury is not going to be serious and he'll be fine for the offseason. Like, they ended up getting the guy anyway. And in fact, they could have had him at 10. They took him at 11 because they actually did a smart thing and got some extra picks for allowing Minnesota to move up 1 spot. So, I don't know. I don't put any stock this time of year on what mock drafts say when it's coming to non-quarterback positions.
Well, I just want to know where I said so I'm looking at a comment here. I just want to know when I said having the 10th overall pick is a terrible draft position. Would you rather the 10th or the 5th? I think it's pretty obvious you would want the 5th. So it just depends on your overall perspective. But yeah, you're going to get a top blue chip talent. You would just prefer if you had Abdul Carter. And again, Jake, you make a great point. In 2022, Jalen Carter was the can't miss, surefire number 1 overall pick as a defensive tackle along with Will Anderson. And he has obviously off-field concerns. He could have absolutely been arrested, never played down football again. And he slid to the 9th overall pick. That happens. So obviously you can never predict right away. But based on overall talent right now, you absolutely want a top 5 pick over a top 10.
Quick reminder for all Patreon users, your discount is no longer 15% in the merch store. Effective immediately, it's now 20% all merch items at jakeasman.com. Just use the new code that I posted in the Discord under the announcement tab and get yourself some merch items, 20% off all year round. Thank you to everyone on Patreon who supports me there. Wouldn't be able to do this show without you guys, so thank you so much. Patreon.com/JakeAsman if you want to sign up and join today. As far as the GM search goes, Nick, we've talked a lot about the coaching search. Of the candidates the Jets have interviewed so far, Have any, one, stood out to you, and two, your thoughts on some other names the Jets could potentially be looking at for the general manager?
Yeah, so I know Rich Cimini highlighted Arthur Smith and essentially that combination if John Robinson were to get the job. I think that's the absolute wrong way to go. I think that would be the Jets not learning from their mistakes to begin with. To me, probably the most intriguing guy is still Thomas Dimitroff, and we're going to get names later on in the next couple of weeks, and there's going to be further interviews along this process. But Dimitroff is a guy who has drafted a quarterback. He scouted the quarterback, drafted him, and has been successful in building around him. That is something the Jets absolutely should be targeting. Someone who understands the quarterback position, understands how to develop it, and then finding the right guys in place to be able to make that work all together. So I think Dimitroff, as of right now, to me, is probably the best overall hire. I know Nagy is another one. Really good scouting background. I just don't know what his plan would be in free agency, what the system would be in free agency. Would he be a guy like Indianapolis and Chris Ballard, where they only draft, they never sign free agents, and you kind of just go by the wayside and mediocrity all year in and year out? That's a question I have for Nagy. The Robinson history looks solid. The record looks solid, but you can't ignore what happened with A.J. Brown. That was a terrible, terrible look for him. The fact that he got fired over it is just ridiculous. It's just a clear microcosm of how bad he screwed up in that situation. So of the default names that have actually interviewed, it's still Dimitroff to me as the number one guy.
Dimitroff, to me, would be a really good choice. He's got a scouting background, and he's been running an analytics company since he left the Falcon job. He's still plugged in. He has contacts all around the league. He, to me, would be like what you want, right? A guy with experience who has a scouting background, but also believes in the modern analytics stuff that you need to be a successful franchise. If he got the job, no complaints from me. I just hope he'd pick Mike Vrabel as his coach / Vrabel would want to work with him.
I think, and again, it's still too early. We have no idea. If Vrabel's giving the Jets a list of names where he says, yeah, I'll work with this guy, this one will be perfectly fine, all that stuff works out. Okay, of course, there's going to be other names to that. As of right now, you have to think that Dimitroff's the top guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats will cut the line. If you missed the announcement, our next grand prize for the raffle we're doing for all gifted memberships is the replica Joe Willie Namath Super Bowl III championship ring. And this is not plastic, by the way. It is a real ring. It's not, obviously the Super Bowl ring, but plastic doesn't sound like this.
Yeah,
it is as real of a ring as you'll find for a replica.
That's awesome.
If that makes sense.
That is so freaking awesome.
Yep, it is awesome, and I'm excited to give it away to a lucky ass maniac. So if you're interested in that, gift the membership, and you'll get a raffle ticket with your name on it, like our winners from the other raffle did here. Shout out again to Mimosa, who won the Curtis Martin signed trading card. She's awesome. She's down in Gainesville. She's a longtime Jet fan for over 40 years. We're sending that out to her. Mike D's Nuts won the Joe Namath 1970 Topps card. And then we had Janergy, who won a Gusbuster umbrella. Purple Belt Mike won a hoodie from the merch store. That was his pick. So we'll keep doing the raffles as you guys keep gifting memberships. Thank you to everyone who supports the show. Nate is trying to troll you here, Nick. Let's see if you take the bait. Nick, what sports did you play in high school?
Played a bunch. My body is broken down because of it. Football, wrestling, lacrosse, did a little bit of track. I was a lot thinner back then, and I got myself killed because of that. So, hey, happens.
Scott Foster writes in, I missed the opening. Did Nick say how his interview went last week? That's right. You interviewed for the Jets show.
Yes, everything went well. I told them immediately that I would hire Todd Monken. They looked at me and said, wow, this guy's great. So you'll expect a hiring announcement within the next couple of weeks.
Jamal Joseph writes in, the Texans OC that everyone was gaga over sure looks great now. Yeesh. And this is what I was saying with the bright offensive guy, the genius, can't miss. You never know. You never know. Bobby Slowick is not a name that anyone's talking about to be a head coach this hiring cycle, when last year he was the flavor of the month, him and Ben Johnson. And I bring up Slowick in this example here by Jamal as more evidence why I believe the next hire for the Jets needs to be someone that's had success, that has experience prior. Because, yeah, it's easy to say get the offensive guy, but give me Mike Vrabel, who has hired 2 offensive coordinators that then went on to be head coaches because he was very good at identifying what a good coaching staff, not just one guy or 2 guys, what a good coaching staff looks like, especially on that side of the ball, which he's not known to be, his that's not known to be his expertise. He's a football coach with a defensive background, but he's a CEO and coaches the entire team, and that's what I think the Jets need.
There are certain teams, there are certain fan bases that absolutely look for that. And I'm not going to debate whether that's the right, because there's historical context to show that either side, hiring a young offensive line, hiring a veteran guy, they both work if you hire the right guy. I look at it, my perspective is always, you want a guy that knows how to develop quarterbacks. You want a guy who can locate the top quarterback and develop an offense into the modern era. Monken, to me, has done that historically throughout his career. 4 of the 6 seasons he's been calling plays for both Tampa and Baltimore, they've been top 10 in yards. They've made the playoffs consistently. He has been extremely successful wherever he's at. You know, people look at his record at Southern Mississippi when he was the head coach and, he won 1 game in his first year. But people don't understand. He was building a program there. They were able in 3 years to go from 1 win to 9. He did a remarkable job there as well. I think you give a guy like Monken the chance to get his guy, get his quarterback, and really see what he can do. He's made Lamar Jackson into a great pocket passer. That was one thing he always struggled with early in his career. You're seeing it no longer be a problem. And Lamar could be on his way to winning a 2nd straight MVP award. That cannot be ignored when we're talking about a guy like Todd Monken.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a bounty that has officially been set, the first one of the show, and we're targeting a guy by the name of Evan McDonald, who has written in just some of the dumbest things you'll ever see in a YouTube chat. Evan writes in, who is Garrett Wilson to have issues with a Hall of Fame QB when he's literally never made any quarterback that he's played with better? We need to trade him. Such a toxic cancer. He isn't Chase or Jefferson. Evan then also wrote, Tua was a bust that met Tyreek Hill. Wide receivers that are great make QBs. Garrett Wilson has made every quarterback look like trash. Then Evan writes in, Bobby Slowick is better than Mike Vrabel. At least he wasn't fired by the Titans. This and much more is some of the dumbassery we've received from Evan McDonald. So we have set the bounty. If you're new to the show, $10 $2 super chats or more, and boom, the Asmaniacs will have spoken, and we will say see you later to moron Evan McDonald. Anyway, on that
can
note,
you just acknowledge the Garrett Wilson stuff? And I think this is where people need to understand what's going on. And clearly it seems that there's a disconnect between Rodgers and Wilson. I don't think anyone's going to sit here and tell you there's not. But I think the frustration that Garrett is feeling isn't about targets. It's the same thing with A.J. Brown. Everyone thinks that A.J. Brown's yelling about targets. He never was. What they are frustrated about, particularly on the Garrett Wilson side, is that they're not winning. He came from a winning program in college. He wanted to turn it around. At the end of the day, it hasn't happened. 3 years he's been in the league. He's lost 10 games every single season. That weighs on a player like this. You are seeing the losses mount up and weigh on Wilson more. I think that more than anything else is at the forefront of his frustration. Not to say that whatever him and Rodgers are going through, whatever is invalid. It's just that I think the crux of this issue comes back to the Jets not winning. If they're winning and Garrett Wilson's making 6-7 catches a game and he's targeted as well as he has, I don't think you're hearing this.
Winning cures all.
It really does.
Always. And at the end of the day, Garrett Wilson's the 4th most targeted wide receiver in the league. And just because he's frustrated now doesn't mean that when they get a new GM and coach who sits down with Garrett, that he's going to ask out. And even if he does request a trade, great. I'm not trading you.
They don't have to.
We have leverage. You're under contract for 2 more years. You're not holding out. It's not going to happen.
And the other thing is this. So, like, again, whether it's Monken, whether it's Vrabel, whether it's Brady, if they go to him and after he requests a trade and said, you are a key part of this team, we want you to be the focal point of this offense, stick with us, and we are going to win. You don't think that's going to change his mind if he buys into the plan that he could change his mind in that regard? It happens all the time. It happened to Budda Baker. Budda Baker's been requesting a trade from Arizona for years. He was on the trade block in 2020. It just consistently, year in and year out, always on the trade block. And now he's gotten a long-term extension because he's bought into what Jonathan Gannon has been saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Rick Kent has come through for the people. How about a 5-spot of channel memberships from quite simply, one of the all-time greats. Sing along, everyone.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, W. Charles, Trubotron, Sleepy Mocha, Abe M, NY Jets 48, all receiving memberships from Rick. That's 5 raffle tickets for Rick. Rick, who I met in person in London, I believe he watched Super Bowl III on TV. So I hope he gets a chance to win our grand prize here, the replica Joe Namath Super Bowl III championship ring. Hopefully my camera can pick up like the details on it because it's truly like exactly what the ring looked like.
It's incredible.
It's awesome. So that's the next big raffle prize that we'll do when we hit 100 memberships. So let's keep gifting for your fellow listeners. Ace of Spade writes in, Agnew, Borgonzi, Dorsey, Dimitrov. Who's your pick? Out of those names, for me, it's Dimitrov or Agnew. Your pick, Nick?
I really like what Dorsey's done throughout his career. He understands how to define quarterbacks. If you're going for Agnew, and it depends on who you want as your head coach. If you want Ben Johnson and you want to pair him with a guy he's known for a while, you take Agnew. If you want a guy to develop quarterbacks kind of like that plan overall, I'll take Dorsey, hire Monken, and roll from there. But you can't go wrong with any of these picks. You really can't.
Those are good. Those are good names. Dorsey, I like to. Borgonzi, it's tricky, right? Like you have Andy Reid there. You have Steve Spagnuolo there. You have Patrick Mahomes, is the best quarterback in the league. And like obviously, like what does Borgonzi do?
You fall into the Patriots trap where it's, oh, well, clearly he's been around this organization. He knows how to fix it. You don't want to fall into that trap. Recent history shows that Andy Reid disciples have not had the best success. I mean, there was a point from the 2010s to the 2020s where Andy Reid assistants were getting picked off for head coaching jobs left and right, and they were highly successful. A lot of them have been to the playoffs, won playoff games, a couple even won Super Bowls. All that stuff works out really, really well. As of late, though, it hasn't been that successful. You look at Matt Nagy, Doug Peterson, his second go-around with the Jacksonville Jaguars has been a disaster. I would tread carefully on any Chiefs hires. Now, this isn't to say that Borgonzi is bad, but there's a lot going well for the Chiefs to sit there and say it's all because of Borgonzi. I don't think that's right.
Pastor Carlos Reyes. Nick, I'm from Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Pawtucket, yep, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm actually from East Providence. That's where I grew up lived before college. Ever since then, I've been in New York.
Quick bounty update on Evan McDonald, who, by the way, had another take that Garrett Wilson is Elijah Moore. He compared the two, which is asinine. Here's your bounty update that matters here. We are 4 super chats away from sending Evan McDonald to the hole. We have 6 of the 10 required, including this one from NYJ who says send him away. Rick Kent, get in the hole. I'm going to have to play that leany drop when we send him to the hole. Jersey Jet says, peace, Evan. Matthias, Evan, you need to be banned for life. Wow. 25 says, you missed Evan called G5 Elijah Moore 2.0. And Chris J says, what is the number for Faria's bounty? Well, there is no number. Nick is a friend, a valued guest on this show. That said, if someone pays me $1,000, no, I'm kidding.
I just wonder what exactly, Jake, correct me if I'm wrong. Have I said anything today that is outlandish? I don't think really it's been anything over the top.
No, I do think the chat has bullied you into ranking Vrabel a little higher than you initially had him, though.
But again, I've never had him one. I'm never going to have him one. I don't think he's the right fit overall. I think it's Monken, and I stand by that statement. Until Monken shows, until there's some level of regression from this Raven offense, it's going to be Monken all the way.
I love it. Hit the like button if you just tuned in. Shout out to Bo. How about 5 more raffle tickets in our next raffle from Bo C? One of, quite simply put, one of the greats. There's no ifs, buts about it.
Money, 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 money.
Game Master, Duncan McLean, DKL, Elmo, Jets fan, and Armando Ordaz all receiving channel memberships. Appreciate that. Once again, we're just 4 away from sending Evan McDonald to the hole, a bounty paid for by the Asmaniacs. Comments, questions, super chats, they'll cut the line. You look at this team right now, Nick. Over the next 2 games here, which players are you keying in on that maybe could either play their way on the team next year, play their way off the team, or could maybe provide some hope for this fan base going into next season? Give us some guys that, down the stretch, these last 2 you're keying in on.
So the first one on this list has to be Malachi Corley. I mean, at some point, the Jets have to recognize that Allen Lazard, what he has done, and he's had a nice little bounce back season. He's made some plays, second on the team in touchdowns, but by and large, it's still been a disaster signing. It's been one of the worst free agent signings in recent history for the New York Jets. There's no point in playing Allen Lazard right now. Even with him being a friend of Aaron Rodgers, there's just absolutely no point. Get the young guys on the field. And for me, that means Malachi Corley actually seeds the field more than a play or two a game, actually gets the ball 3 or 5 times a game. People are going to say, and there have been arguments, and the one argument the Jets have is that he hasn't developed as a wide receiver as fast as they have wanted. But neither did Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel wasn't a guy that was this prolific route runner coming out of college. He needed a lot of work. And what the 49ers did was they created a role for him. That's what the Jets should have done with Malachi Corley from the beginning. It never made sense to make him a healthy scratch for as long as they have. He needs to play more. So I think these last 2 games need to be the Malachi Corley show outside of just getting the ball to Garrett Wilson a lot. But the other names, of course, listen, I've been on a record for a long time now saying Jamien Sherwood is a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker. He's made that point very, very clear today in this season. I want to see more out of him, continuing to develop, continuing to get the defensive guys in place. And, of course, Will McDonald. How many sacks can this guy get in his second season to continue to show the Jets made the right pick of drafting him? Obviously, Jackson Smith and Njigba having a great season with Seattle, but Will McDonald was not a bad draft pick. He is showing that this year. He's a blue-chip talent, a guy that you can rely on moving forward for the next 4 or 5 years.
Fiore with a $10 super chat. Fiore, I appreciate you, my man. Thanks for supporting the channel. Rodgers just said all the right things about making concessions for the Jets next year. The options outside of him are not great. Will Woody let the GM and head coach decide? He sounds like he wants to play.
And this is a great question. So most likely, and again, I continuously say this, I write this in almost every article when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, I honestly do believe that any head coach next year for the Jets, in terms of general manager, head coach, they're going to decide overall on Rodgers. But they're going to take one look at the free agent class, one look at their draft standing, and say, we're not going to get the best guy to lead us to the playoffs. Let's run it back with Rodgers for a single season. Let's just move forward with that and develop a quarterback, whether it's in the second, third, later rounds of the 2025 draft, or punt that question off to the 2026 draft. So ultimately, it's going to be up to the GM and the head coach to decide. It's not going to be an Aaron Rodgers thing. If Aaron decides to come back, then it will be up to those 2 guys. If he decides to retire, completely different story. But by and large, this is a Jets decision that the new head coach, the new general manager will be making.
My big thing with Rodgers is whether he's here or not, I have my opinions on it. You do. The fans do. The only opinions that should truly matter are the 2 people they hire at GM and head coach.
100%.
You need them to decide. Not a Woody decision. You have to let your football people evaluate where Rodgers is versus the other options, the contract stuff, all that, and make the decision. You have to be unified and have your football people making that decision. If Woody is already making the decision for them, then we've already lost.
I completely agree. This needs to be, if you're going to build the right organization, similar to your Knicks, Jake. The Knicks were a joke for a decade. They hire Leon Rose, they hire all these guys, and you never hear about James Dolan again. You don't hear about this guy anymore because he essentially said, I trust the people I hired. They are going to be the ones deciding the basketball decisions. You're not hearing this nitpicking anymore, and I think that's a fundamental reason and a fundamental lesson that Woody Johnson will learn with this new executive team.
You certainly hope. You certainly hope, because that's really what it comes down to. Ladies and gentlemen, Felix wants a ring. How about a 10 spot of channel memberships and perhaps a win in the raffle with those 10 memberships? Felix wants a Super Bowl III ring. Felix, a 10 spot. And for those who are new to the show, when Felix Campos gives a channel membership, we play this.
Felix Campos, he wonderful, wonderful guy. He gives a lot of gift memberships and loves the Jake Asman Show.
Take the money.
Easton Trinini, Chris Peterson, Alfredo Salas, L.A., Les Comar, Donald Wallace, Vincent C., Ryan to catch, all receiving channel memberships. That's a 10 spot from Felix. Felix, you are the man. And just an update on Bountygate for Evan. We're 3 super chats away from saying see ya to Evan McDonald for his asinine takes. Bo checks in with a question. He says, assuming Vrabel's our coach and we have a legitimate GM hire, what is a realistic projection for next year's record? Nick, I'll let you go first.
I think 10, 11 wins. And again, Vrabel there, I think Monken would probably be around the same. I think both would eventually bring back Rodgers. And again, proper coaching, competent coaching. Where would the Jets be this season if they had proper, competent coaching? They'd have a lot more than 4 wins, I'll tell you that much. They would be prepared to beat the Denver Broncos without needing a 50-yard field goal at the end of the game. They would be prepared and better prepared for other situations and other losses this season. So I think 10 wins is probably a safe bet. I'm never going to bet against the Bills again. I thought this was a year that they would sort of come back down to earth. But with Vrabel in tow, with Monken in tow, any of these guys that are competent, there's still a lot of talent on the roster. The offensive line, by and large, is solved. There's what hole are you going to need to fill outside of questioning whether Morgan Moses returns next season? That's really the only question. You've got your center, you've got your left tackle. John Simpson has been really, really good. Elijah Vera Tucker's coming back. That offensive line is secure. You're going to have to fill out some holes on the defense. You need to figure out what you're going to do at quarterback and receiver. But if you bring Rodgers back, as the expectation is, there is absolutely no reason why the Jets cannot win 10 games.
They could be what Denver's doing this year. They could do what the Chargers are doing this year. It's going to take getting the coaching hire right, though. And you got to hit on some other stuff, too. But offensive line-wise, they're set. I'd bring Moses back on a 1-year deal and draft someone that could eventually take over because I want some continuity there. I think that's valuable. And get a real offensive line coach that's not Keith Carter and a real run game coordinator that, oh, by the way, is also Keith Carter. And they should be a lot better there by default. And I also will say this, they need to get better offensive line depth. It seems like every time one of the starters does go down, it's like noticeable right away. Like Carter Warren, Max Mitchell, they got to try and find a way to improve the O-line depth at the tackle and then the interior spots.
Well, and again, it depends on the schedule, depends on what you guys do in free agency. But again, this is a guess that we're making without knowing, what the plan is for any of these guys. But if Mike Vrabel is coming in here, he's not coming in to rebuild the roster and completely gut the roster and have this rebuild like some people are stating that need to do. If he's coming in, he believes that this team is ready to win now. And he's done it in Tennessee, for his credit. Todd Monken has been able to build proper offenses right away, immediately when he walks in. So I look at this and I say the Jets have a lot of talent. It's just a matter of getting the right coach. Find the right coach, put this team together. There's a lot of pieces in place that you should be able to trust moving forward. And the most important one is the offensive line, as we've talked about. There's a lot to like here on this Jets roster instead of everyone just screaming, everything sucks, trade everybody.
You said the right coach, did you?
Because it sucks to lose, Gentry.
Trey, ever need to show you anything?
Did you have another thought or no? I'm just curious.
Why?
Jake, where'd you go?
Oh, my God. What happened?
What was going on here?
What happened? Did Vrabel not play?
No, Vrabel played. You didn't show back up.
Oh, yeah, I had an internet issue.
That sucks.
But I was unsure if Vrabel, because I literally hit the clip and then my internet knocked me out of the studio. And I was like, did it not play?
It sucks. It sucks to have bad internet, Jake.
It does. Did the whole clip play? 30 seconds of Vrabel?
Yeah, yep.
All right.
I think it was 30 seconds.
I don't know. Well, anyway, Evan almost tried to get me to go to the hole. But guess what, Evan? We hit the number. Ladies and gentlemen, Barbarossa, bye-bye. Evan, get clown. Chief Goldblum, bring back Adam Gase. Evan's next take, probably. Ladies and gentlemen, with that super chat, we have reached the required 10 that we needed. And it is my honor and my privilege to say farewell to Evan McDonald. Enjoy the hole, ya bum.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the Sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
Had to be done. I'm going to start handing out week-long suspensions because I'm pretty sure that was FM who's banned for life. Can't prove it just yet, but we'll work on it. On that note, Nick, I know you have to leave at 11:45, so I thank you for hopping on.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Nick Faria at his weekly spot. Check out his work at Athlon Sports. Follow him on Twitter. Jeffrey R. with a super chat. Is Simpson signed for more than 1 year? John Simpson's under contract for next year, yes. 4 of the 5 starters under contract with the average age being 25 or less. The Jets have a lot of issues. Offensive line is, for once, not one of them. I think they need more depth there. I think they got to bring back Morgan Moses, too. But you got 4 of your 5 guys under contract. Tyrone with a super chat. Mahomes and Rodgers have similar stats for 2024. The only difference is the KC defense and kicker play great. Ours did it. 14-1, bring Rodgers back. Look, I understand what you're saying, but Mahomes is still Mahomes. All right, Tyrone. The numbers might not necessarily show it, but I think he's got 18 touchdowns, the 2 picks since Halloween. And yesterday was vintage Mahomes. He's still the best quarterback in the league. You have 1 game to win, you're still taking Mahomes. But your point is not crazy talking about how the Chiefs have the elite defense, right? Their defense is number 1 in scoring. They have a kicker. If the Jets can fix the defense and get a competent kicker, and Rodgers could play similar to this year, maybe a little better with a real offense, they can compete next year. That, you're not wrong. I'm bringing Rodgers back if he's willing to run a modern scheme and take a pay cut. That's where I'm at right now. Sounds like he's open to the pay cut. And part of bringing Rodgers back is so you can get Devontae for another year. Who's playing receiver next year besides Garrett Wilson if you move on from Rodgers? Because you're not going to be able to have Devontae. That's the problem. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. We're presented today by my friends at Underdog. Did you make picks yesterday like I did? I made picks for the Knick game, baby. I had the Mikal Bridges higher. That hit. Mikal Bridges in the month of December has been awesome. Didn't think he'd go for 41, but I will take it. Make your picks over at Underdog. Go higher or lower on your favorite athletes. And we got a Thursday night game tonight. It's not great, but make it more interesting by putting some Underdog picks in. You got the Bears hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Prime time, Geno Smith. Get your picks in. Sign up for Underdog. Use promo code Asman. If you've never played Underdog, it's a lot of fun. And they're going to give you a deposit match up to $1,000 right now. So take advantage. Promo code Asman when you sign up for Underdog. Purple Belt Mike with a super chat. He says, can we update the hole from Zach Wilson to JD or Brick or Woody? Notice what Purple Belt Mike did there to try and make sure his super chat fit at $199 and not go up to $499 for more characters. I respect it, Mike. Well done. Not a bad idea, Gator. Maybe we update the hole to feature Joe Douglas or Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich, or maybe all of them. I don't know. All right, let's get to some of your calls now. Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is open. Hope everyone, once again, that tuned in late had a magical Christmas. Happy Knicksmas to the Knick fans out there. And it's time for your calls.
I got my Iron UG. I hope you like my Jets take. You know they call me David T. It's not easy for me to see, but if you bring me full stream, you might like what I had to say. I'll need to get real damn close, cause my vision is dog shit.
Did you say that?
David
Hi,
T.
Jake.
Hey, David.
Hi, Jake.
Hi, David.
Hi. Yes, I'm standing here by my sister-in-law and my niece, and I was telling them, if I can get on Jake's show, you got to listen to this. So they're here, and my niece and her boyfriend, they're the ones, the Jacksonville fans. And I thought when they first came down, I could razz them about the game, but it just didn't. We both went in with high expectations, and it didn't work itself out. But I do have a Jets question as far as Pete Carroll goes.
Yes, sir.
I know if we can get very Vrabel, that's a done deal. But Pete Carroll, he's a little older, but if the Jets were rebuilding, I think you would want more of a younger person But and what impresses me about Pete Carroll is, he's good with quarterbacks. So if you would keep Rodgers and bring a young quarterback in, he could develop them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's if it comes down to, of course we want Vrabel.
I think Carroll, obviously, if he was 10 years younger, it's a no-brainer. What the Jets have to consider is how many years does he want to coach and what would his staff look like? But I think as far as like maximizing the talent on this team, he's proven to do that. But like people think of like his time in Seattle, it ended poorly. His last 2 years, they made the playoffs. They were 9, or they made the playoffs the second to last year. I think last year they missed the playoffs at 9-8. Like Pete Carroll still ended with winning seasons. Like the guy that could coach, I'd want to know what his OC is. And I think if you're hiring Carroll, you have to have the idea that you're bringing Rodgers back. I think it'd be contingent on that. But I rather Pete Carroll than someone who's like never been a head coach before. Unless you're telling me I'm getting like Ben Johnson or something.
Yes, and you bring up the point, rightfully so, every time, that if it's an older coach that's done it before, but the OC is so important.
David, the eye looks tremendous today. I mean, what have you done in the last 48 hours to get that eye looking as sharp as it's looked?
I went back to putting drops in, and it's eased up. I was over here at my brother's all day yesterday. I had my contacts in, all day, and I went home, drank a few beers, got a good night's sleep, and today all good so far, buddy.
You look great, David. And how was making the laps around the world as Santa the other night? That go well?
It was very it was a labor of love.
Well, I'll tell you what, tremendous job as always, David. I appreciate you calling in.
All right, Jake. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great David T. Hit it.
I got my eye on you, Jake. I hope you like my Jets take. They call me David T. It's not easy for me to see, but if you bring me full stream, you might like what I had to say. I'll need to get real damn close, cause my vision is dog shit.
Just tremendous. And we had an ensemble there for that David call. We had friends and family of David T. I mean, that's as good as he gets right there. Hit the like button if you're tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. I'll continue to say it. David T is going on a run in March. He's making a run. I don't know what seed he's going to be. He's going to be a high seed, though. And his first call was not till November 20th. We've never seen an Asmaniac rise to the fame like he has. More of your calls right now. Let's say hello to John, who's next. Hey, John.
Jake, how we doing, man? It's been a little bit. I like the stash too.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Jake. So wanted to cut back to my take a while ago where everyone was saying we should get rid of Rodgers, but looks like we're going to keep him. But also wanted to shout out that I went to my first Jets game at MetLife the other day. It was atrocious.
The Rams game was your first time over there?
The at MetLife. Yeah, I'd gone to I live out in Vegas, so it's tough for me to make it out to games, but it was cold. It was terrible, and the coaching sucked. But wanted to make this take real quick that the coaching, going back to a couple weeks ago, the coaching was atrocious. And I think, this is another game that we lost and we just blew it. So hopefully we can get in another coach here. I know everyone's talking about Vrabel. To be honest, I think anyone could coach this team better than what it's been coached up until this point.
You know what?
I loved your take on Adam
John.
Case could do a better job because he probably could.
Yeah, no, you're right. But let me
anyways,
just say this. Remember, people use that argument with Saleh. Right? It was like anyone could coach better than Saleh, and then they literally promote Obrick and say whatever you want about Robert Saleh. He wasn't a great coach, but he's light years better than what we've seen from Obrick.
Oh yeah. Obrick has been absolutely atrocious as well. There's a reason why he wasn't made a coach, for a while anyways. So, and honestly, it was just an atrocious move by Woody earlier in the year to turn to Ulbrich when we started to panic early on, when we probably could have stuck it out with Saleh for a little bit longer. Obviously hindsight's 2020, but at the same, here we go on another coaching search. And to be honest, I hope we don't draft a quarterback this upcoming year. I know we're gonna have a high draft pick, but I just don't believe in these guys. I don't think we're gonna be able to get Cam Ward or Shadur, so it's like might as well punt and get another defensive player that we could add to this defense that has regressed from the previous 2 years. And to be honest, our O line has gotten a lot better. So maybe we can, as long as we improve the defense a little bit, get some better coaching on the offensive side of the ball, I think we can really make some noise. And obviously push to make the playoffs. But we'll see. But anyways, just wanted to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And thanks for having me on, Jake.
John, good call. I'm sorry your first Jets game was that game on Sunday at MetLife, but hopefully better games ahead. One home game left, baby. Wayne writes in, can I go to the hole? I want Adam Gase back as head coach, and I'm depressed. The first person to gift a singular membership will send Wayne to the hole. That's all it takes. The bounty is one membership, which is basically the bare minimum. Hawk writes in, Zach Wilson should have been retained. Ladies and gentlemen, Hawk trying to troll, thinking he's slick, thinking that he can try and get me to get mad at him. It's not going to happen, Hawk. It's just not. It won't happen. Ladies and gentlemen, the bounty has already been met. A.D. Pugnant has gifted a channel membership, which means we are officially sending listener Wayne to the hole.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
Listener Rebecca Ellen, who's in the chat, just received the membership from A.D. Pugnant. A.D., appreciate you, my man. We will say farewell to Wayne for 24 hours. Felix is back with a 5 spot, baby. Let's go, Felix, coming through for the Asmaniacs across the globe. 5 more raffle tickets for Felix.
It's the Asmaniac membership raffle. For every membership gifted, you receive 1 ticket entered in the raffle to win epic prizes.
The replica Super Bowl III championship ring is on the line, baby. That's our next first place raffle winner giveaway. Felix has gifted the following 5 memberships to Ed Vargas, AZ Jets, Zach Rosenberg, 2025 lacrosse goalie, Michael Felice, Jason Picker, all receiving memberships. But wait, dun, dun, dun. There's more. How about K&D getting in on the gifting? Sing along.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Joshua Langley, Nick Caps, Greg Lott, NYC Camper, and John Steele, or Stell, Steil, all receiving memberships from K&D. K&D, happy holidays, my man. Appreciate you. 5 raffle tickets with your name will be added today to the bucket of champions. Dun, 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 dun. By the way, here's a better way to tell it. So this ring, someone wrote, is it plastic? It's not. It's metal. Plastic don't make that sound. So it's a quality replica, man. Hopefully you guys can see this on the camera here. It's tough to pick it up with the ring light in front of it. The Namath on it. It's got it all embroidered. Pretty cool. Oh my God. Rick Kent, are you kidding me? Rick Kent alert, a 10 spot of channel memberships. Oh my God. Let's go, Rick. 10 names right here from Rick Kent. Gator, I think it's time we get Rick Kent a membership drop video. I love Rick Kent. He's the man. Darius Richards, Solider 500, Big Bunder, John, Dan NY, Titan, Andrew Cameron, Happy Wolverine, JG, KJ, all receiving channel memberships from Rick Kent. Unbelievable. I saw Rick Kent just wrote, don't scratch my ring. I will try not to, Rick. That's my bad. I hope you win, Rick. You're a long-suffering Jet fan. You said in the chat you were 10 when you watched the Super Bowl on TV, so it'd be awesome if you won. But K&D wants to try and win it too. Let me get that ring, B. K&D, I appreciate you tuning in. All right, let's get to more of your calls right now. Gusbuster Hotline is open if you want to join the show. It's pinned in the comments, so you just click the link and you can come on. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is Bobby Midnight. Merry Christmas, Bob.
How you doing? Merry Christmas.
You sound very tired, Bobby.
I'm happy the Knicks won yesterday.
Me too. They played a great game. That was very entertaining.
Yeah, that was good. Where were you sitting? Not next to Spike.
I was sitting next to Spike, the same spot I always sat.
He
actually wasn't there. He wasn't there yesterday. I was next to Edie Falco.
Who's Edie Falco?
Carmela Soprano.
Oh, okay. Oh, Sopranos.
Yeah.
Never got into that show.
You never seen The Sopranos, Bobby?
Nah.
You got to watch.
Isn't that the guy from Blue Bloods in that too?
Steve Sharippa. He actually was there yesterday too. He's a big Knicks fan.
Yeah, he is. He's a funny guy. I want to meet him sometime.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. I like him. Yeah, guess what? Michael finally got on my show yesterday.
I saw, and then he called the radio show yesterday. You both did. It was
yeah,
great.
right. I told him to. I said, Michael, you got to call Jake, and he's on, and he did call him.
Yeah,
the guy in the background.
It's very rare a New York sports talk show gets 2 calls from Vermont. It was the producers.
Yeah, but the other guy wouldn't let him on the last time. Remember, he thought it was me.
Well, you guys sound similar.
Yeah, but the other guy let him on. The nice guy in the back. What was his name?
Joe Leo screened your calls.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I liked him.
Yep.
Cool guy. Tell him.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, very cool guy.
Who was on this morning? Same guy, Joe.
Different producers this morning.
Okay, so tomorrow the same time you're on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I call tomorrow morning.
Yep, 6 to 10 a.m.
And then who are you filling in for?
Rick DiPietro and Dave Rothenberg.
Oh, it's Don Rothenberg who played the Family Feud with you.
No, different person.
Oh, who played the Family Feud with you?
You're talking about Maria Marino?
No, he's a guy. I didn't think he was that funny when you co-hosted with him. I thought it was the other guy, the one that you just said you.
Dave, Rick.
Yeah, Rick, you fill in, and then you did with the other guy.
Yeah, I did a show with Dave over the summer. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think he's funny.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, well, I'll let him know.
I like the guy who played that for the Islanders. I do like him.
Rick? Yeah, Rick's a great dude.
He's a great player. Tell him I love the Islanders. I met Mike Bossy and I met Pothan. We bowled in the bowling alley, Nassau County, Sterling Bowl, and we got their autographs. They did like a charity bowl, so we were able to get that. Are you drinking iced cold coffee?
I am.
Yeah, that's what I do. Do you like it?
What is this, an interview? I do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't like coffee.
I don't think you need, well, I think actually you might need coffee. You sound like you're half asleep right now.
No, I feel fine. I had 8 hours sleep straight.
You're literally yawning as you're saying you feel fine.
No, I just burped.
Oh, even better.
I don't want to hear it. So you having a second show with my pal, Jeff?
No Jeff today.
No, Jeff, just you?
Just me, or maybe a surprise guest. You'll have to find out.
Okay, we'll find that at 4:00, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd be there. Or I'd be square if I won't be there.
That's right. How was your Christmas, Bobby? You were live for 12 hours.
6.5.
Pretty close.
today we're gonna have my weigh-in today. But I did call my doctor.
Yes.
The nurse answered, and then I got a appointment with the nutritionist. So Nick is very happy for that. So
That's good. Yeah. We just want to make sure that you're losing all
Yeah.
this weight. You do it healthy because it's a lot of weight
Yeah.
you're losing at once.
Yeah, no, even the nurse said she doesn't think that was a very healthy way.
See? It's
I did
almost
eat
like
some
eating
meat.
7 butter sticks a day is not healthy for you.
I don't eat 7, but no, I only eat 3 times a week. That's it. Not 7 days a week.
I see.
7 days, 7 butter sticks a day. So then, I'm happy. I feel great. My nerves are not there anymore. My inflammation is gone.
Maybe you should take a nap today. You do sound very tired.
No, I woke up 8.5 hours sleep. I had perfect timing.
All right. Well, what are you doing today? Just take a nap before the second show.
Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe not.
All right.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. You be good.
All right, Bobby.
You know that guy you just threw in for 1 membership? That guy comes to my show. He goes, "Oh, I'm depressed. Can I call you in?" I think he's a troll. Watch out for him.
I think so too.
Yeah, me too. And I had this other guy. His name was Gia. It's a guy with a dressed up as a girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a girl. I looked it up, and it was a he, she.
Yeah.
It was not good. I bounced her like a rubber ball. So I'll talk to you later.
All right, Bobby. Keep up the good work. All right.
Okay, bye now.
All right, you got it.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have good news for the people that love this show. 5 of you just got a membership from Bo, who gifted a 5 spot. Hit it.
Show me the money. Show me the money! Money.
There you go. Javo Villasana, Mitt Flair, THY Nick, JC, Jeff Hogg, all receiving channel memberships. Let's go. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. We're raffling away. If you missed the announcement, the replica Joe Namath Super Bowl III championship ring. It's engraved as if you're Joe Willie. I'll put a picture of it in the Discord. The ring light makes it hard to show it off, but you have to take my word for it. It's Namath. It's a really nice ring. So that will be sent your way. Let's get to more of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hamburger is on the line. Hey, Hamburger.
Morning. How we doing?
What's going on, Hamburger? How was your Christmas?
It was excellent, man. It was very good. The kids had a great time. They got everything they wanted and more. I got my nice new Jets hat for my mother-in-law and my nice new sweat outfit for my wife.
I love that.
Everything was good. Spent time with family. How about you?
Solid, man. Knicks win at the Garden. Had some Chinese food, watched football, watched the basketball. Can't complain.
No, nothing to complain about. Listen, Pete Carroll, he's low on my list. Really low on my list for coaches that I want to bring in here. He was here back in the day. I don't want to retread Pete again. Listen, Vrabel is on my list. Anything we can do to get him. Talk to him first, get the GM, get his list of GMs, and hire whatever guy he wants. I am on board with him beyond. Like, he's the guy I want. He's the guy that took Tennessee with a shitty quarterback and brought him to the playoffs. I mean, this team is built for him. This is the type of team that he can run. And I am so on board with getting him. And I'm praying we get him. I don't know. Does Dorsey fit in his category of GMs?
Well, I don't know. See, I don't know. I don't know what Vrabel is looking for in a GM. Like he has said, like obviously, he has to be comfortable with the GM hire. But we don't know what style of GM he wants. He's worked with 2 GMs in Tennessee. One of them he had success with Robinson until the A.J. Brown trade happened. And the other one, he barely worked with Ron Carthon. He had a year with him. So I don't know. I don't know what people are trying to connect the dots. Like, if they've worked previously or overlapped anywhere, maybe. A name no one's talking about is Brian Gaine. He was a GM for a year with the Texans. He's now the Buffalo Bills assistant GM. He got railroaded by Bill O'Brien after Bill O'Brien won a power struggle there.
Yeah.
They were both in Houston together because Gain, before he went to Buffalo as the assistant GM, was originally in the Houston front office and like pro personnel or something in the front office. So there's a connection there. You try and connect the dots to some of the names out there that might get interviews. Like, I don't know. This is why, though, if you want Vrabel, you ask them, hey, give us some names you're interested in, and we'll speak with them, because once again, this is why we're doing that for those who haven't seen this.
I talked to Mike Vrabel. Mike said, he said, I would take the Jets job. I just don't know who the GM would be. I'd have to like the GM.
So let's find out who he wants.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like that he has specific guys he wants to work for. It's just a guy that's got to fit with what he wants at all. I don't think from what that sounds like, it doesn't sound like that he has only 2 or 3 guys in mind. There's probably a variable of guys that he would be willing to work with and sit down and talk with. So I think it's more of a better shot that he comes here than not, even with the GM search. But
I actually think they're going to get Vrabel. I don't want to be too confident though, because it could change. But I don't know. I'm praying for it. But I think the Jets are going to end up with Vrabel somehow. I don't know how, but I think they are.
I think so too, and that's what I keep getting the feeling on. There's just too much talk of him coming here. It's gonna work itself right in. That's
and I just think
feel.
The fan base is going to put so much pressure on Woody to potentially hire him that it's going to be one of those things. It's going to be like Steve Cohen was not going to take no from Soto. I think Woody's going to do the full court press for Vrabel too.
I would agree with you on that, and I really at this point I'm like 70% that Aaron's going to be back. Because every time I turn around, I just can't think of anybody else that you could really plug in next year besides some of the names that we throw out there. But Aaron by far is the best option. By far. It's not even close. And especially if he has a decent 2 games. So far, he's had like 4 games in a row where he's been all right. Last week, he wasn't the greatest, but still, he's a serviceable quarterback. And if he's going to be even healthier next year, yeah, he'll be a year older, but he's going to be healthy. He won't have any of his injuries. His Achilles will be stretched out more. He'll be a little more mobile. We've seen that he can run still. He's not fast, but he can get out of the pocket. He can run around the outside. He can get scrambled for 5-6 yards. We don't like seeing it because we hold our breath every time the guy gets touched. But still, I hope he's back next year. I'm now at the point where I don't see anybody else fitting in the spot. As much as someone and anybody wants to say in the chat, F Rodgers, F this, F that, he's our best option. You could slice it whatever way you want. He's our best option. There's no great options in the draft to get a fix me now quarterback. There's nothing out there. We have to get a project quarterback. And really, other than the first 2 picks at the top of the draft, there's really nobody else that anybody's clamoring over and talking about right now. We've heard really nothing. And it is early, but still, I don't look at draft capital right now. It is wherever we fall, we'll be between 5 and 10. And if we can get a GM that can pick solid picks at that point, we have a good enough roster to fill gaps. That's what we need to do. We don't need to look for the next big superstar. We have quite a few of them on the team right now.
Hamburger, good call. I think here's the thing. Rodgers is probably their best option, but it's not even just about their best option. Like, they could take a slightly downgrade at quarterback if Rodgers is not bought into a new coaching staff. Like, say they hire Vrabel, but he's like, hey, Aaron, like, we want to run this offense. Like, if you're not cool with it, we're just going to release you. Then they might just do that if Aaron's not on board. There's the saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like, let's see if Aaron's actually willing when push comes to shove to learn a modernized offense. But I agree with you. I think in a perfect world, Aaron on a pay cut, he's back with Devontae, with Vrabel as the coach, and a real offense, you could be competitive next year. You can go 10-7 next year in that scenario. Wrong Verb writes in, I believe Vrabel to the Raiders is a lock. I don't. They're not in position to take a quarterback. And Vrabel wants control. The Raiders have a GM right now in Tom Telesco. He's just going to hand the keys to Vrabel? I don't know. He wants to voluntarily join the AFC West and deal with Mahomes and deal with Herbert and deal with Sean Payton and the Broncos? I wouldn't. I think the Raider job is a bad job. Julio writes in, are the Bears a better option for Vrabel? The Bears seemingly want Ben Johnson. I mean, I think you could argue the Bears are better if you think Caleb Williams is going to be a great quarterback. But think about the division you're in if you're with the Bears. Minnesota, really good. Green Bay, really good. The Lions, really good. You got 3 10-plus win teams in that division. It ain't easy. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is a guy that when he calls in, he electrifies the Asmaniacs.
You'll never get my chicken soup recipe. I'm not saying that those he takes steroids. Give me some of it. Hey, Charles! Who is that lovely lady? Send it this way, Charles!
Hey Jake, how are you?
Hey Charles.
Sorry about the noise. I'm at the Colonial Restaurant right now in Fords. What's up, buddy?
You tell me. What are you having for lunch?
I just ordered my brunch, so everything's good. How was your Christmas?
It was good. I spent it at Madison Square Garden for part of it. Saw a Nick Smith win.
Oh yeah, I think Richie went to one of the games earlier this week too. That was awesome too. Knicks are 20-10 right now.
They're playing some good basketball. They've won 15 of 19, Charles.
Plus, they have a really good coaching staff, so that also helps.
No doubt. Who are you out to brunch with, Charles?
What?
I said, who are you out to brunch with?
Just by myself.
We'll keep you company.
What?
I said, we'll keep you company.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
What do you have?
Anyways, as for Rabel going to the Raiders or the Bears, I think his number one interest is the Jets, correct? Is it still the Jets and all? Pete Carroll expressed interest to get back into coaching. I could see Pete Carroll going to the Bears if Ben Johnson doesn't get the job.
I could see Pete Carroll going to the Bears. I can.
I mean, the thing is, though, Caleb Williams has been very inconsistent this year, and there are times he's been really good, and there are times he's been really bad, so we don't know what the hell is going on.
Now, let me tell you something, Charles.
But what?
The chat is demanding to know what you're eating for brunch.
Fine, if they must know. A grilled chicken sandwich with a melted American cheese, no tomato, no bacon, and some fries and a pickle.
It sounds delicious.
Is that good, Jake?
It sounds tremendous, Charles.
I like bacon, but I'm not like obsessed with bacon. You know, bacon, I know a lot of people absolutely love bacon on everything. Me, we're obsessed with it. You know?
Now, do you typically watch this show out in public with no headphones on?
I have a Google Pixel, doesn't allow headphones.
It doesn't allow headphones. What type of device is that?
Well, I mean, doesn't allow, like, you can't connect headphones to this, is what I meant to say, yeah.
What about, like, Bluetooth, wireless headphones, AirPods?
I don't have them with me at the moment.
I see. So you're just sitting out in public, having some brunch? Did you walk? We know you're not a driver. Did you Uber? Did you drive? Give us the breakdown.
I took Uber.
How come you didn't go with Nick Shine?
I don't know. I didn't want to disturb Nick Shine. He might have had plans today. I have no idea.
You didn't want to disturb him. I think it'd be quite the honor for Nick Shine to receive a phone call from you that you were interested in sharing some brunch.
I'm sure it will, but I don't look. It's not that I like Nick. He's a good guy. He's a good family man. I was on the show last night, as you may have been aware. And for those who are wondering, I do have an Instagram.
Plug your Instagram. Let's get you some followers.
I have about 13 followers right now.
Well, let's get you double that right now. Say the Instagram.
Hold on.
I'm standing by. Whenever you're ready, Charles.
I'm putting in the chat.
Just say it aloud.
My Instagram number.
And he's gone. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Eugene M. Gorman. One of the greats. We might never know what his Instagram is now. He just left. Sad. Purple Belt Mike is up next. Hello, Mike.
What up? I got a special cocktail.
Look at that. What is that?
The Jake Asman cocktail, baby.
What's in there?
What do you want to know?
I would like to know, but I guess I won't know.
It's a Grinch mimosa. So it's a mimosa with Caraco.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jet green. I love it.
No, it's Jake Asman green.
That's right. That's right.
I wanted to ask Hamburger, who makes the best hamburger? In his opinion. I don't know if he got back to me.
Like the best fast food hamburger or the best restaurant?
Whatever. Who makes the best hamburger? I want to know.
Well, Hamburger, if you're out there, please answer Purple Belt Mike.
You know, I'm all in on Vrabel. So I'm not going to rehash that. But I don't want Pete Carroll. I think he's too old.
You're an ageist. That's your problem.
I'm not an ageist, but I don't want a guy that's going to be here for 4 years tops and then have to move on.
But what if he wins?
He wins the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I mean, then I'm wrong.
All right.
Yeah, I'd rather have someone younger that can have some longevity.
Ageist. How dare you?
I value longevity.
I get it.
Yep.
What are you eating?
Seafood salad. I also had lobster and shrimp.
Look at you.
But, yeah. So, Christmas Eve, we do like the Italian 7 fishes thing. So, this is leftovers from Christmas Eve.
Well, I hope you enjoy it, Mike. I appreciate you calling in the Jake Asman cocktail. Excellent job. What have been the company's thoughts on the first couple of DNRs I've done this week?
They like it, and the Giant
right.
fans say it's too Jets heavy, but they hate
I'm
Jets.
calling about the Giants. There's no Giants topics right now. They suck. They're tanking. What am I supposed to say? Change to come back just to try and have a hot take I don't believe?
That's what I'm telling them. And I said, call in if you want, other shit. But
I threw out the Pete Carroll topic thinking Giant fans would call, and no one called. But the Jet fans always call because they care.
Facts.
Yeah.
Are we going to see a plane, you think, on Sunday?
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Nice. What do you think it's going to say?
Fire everyone? Something like that?
Draft Shador. That's what I think it's going to say. Fire everyone and draft Shador.
Can that fit on a banner? I don't know.
Might.
All right.
You think that if he gets fired and Shador is the quarterback, that Dion is actually going to be somehow involved in coaching? Is that like a realistic thing?
I don't think Deion's coaching the NFL.
I think he'd be good. Low key. I really think he'd be a good coach.
I think he's done a great job in college. I don't think he's going to be coaching the NFL this upcoming year. I'm not saying it won't happen down the line, but not right away. Mike, enjoy your meal. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of meals, we were wondering where this guy went. We now have the answer.
Hi, I'm Charles, and I'm going to talk about Spider-Man and movies and sports and video games and maybe hot chicks.
Yeah, I clicked the home button by accident. My apologies. My Instagram is comics0MICS4 LIFE.
Have you thought about maybe just making your Instagram name Charles Gorman so it's easier for people to find?
No, I just chose it that way. I like to be like the Riddler. Riddler be this stuff, man.
God, I don't know. He said it, folks. You're gonna have to. Rick Kent's writing it in the chat. There's a 0 in it. It's you couldn't just use comics. You had to use C0.
Yes, sir.
God.
Yes,
All
I'm
right.
special, Jake.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna follow you.
I already followed you, so.
Did you just follow me?
Yeah, I followed you a while ago.
You followed me 12 hours ago. I just saw it now. How was that a while
I
ago?
followed Richie. I followed Ryan Delaney from Jets Talk 24/7, as well as other show Talking Jets. I followed Carly. I followed.
You don't have a post yet. Let's do your first Instagram right now.
I do have a post.
No, you don't. It says 0 posts.
That's not true, Jake.
What do you mean? It literally says 0 posts. There's not a single picture.
I have.
Charles?
Yeah, I'm right there.
It says 0 posts.
Well, scroll down. Refresh.
I'm refreshing. How many times do I got to refresh?
I have a post. It says I have my account. I have one post.
I don't know what you're talking about, Charles. All right. I feel lied to, deceived, hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok. Rebecca says, I am in love with Charles Gorman. Do you have any thoughts on Rebecca?
I don't know who she is.
Well, she's in love with you.
That's great. I appreciate a fan, but
you did a story yesterday. You didn't post a pic, says Boomtown.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant to say. Yeah, I did a story. Yeah, my apologies.
Well, that's a big difference, Charles. Also, we got to work on this name here.
It's fine the way it is.
No, it's not. No one's going to be able to find this name. You've already gained 3 followers since we started plugging it. How about that?
Rebecca Ellen, is she on Instagram?
I don't know. Are you going to slide into her DMs? Are you going to go full J.R. Smith and be in the DMs and ask if she's, quote, trying to get the pipe? Charles? Chuck? Charles? Look at this forehead, folks. Man, Charles, we got to figure out what's going wrong here.
Her name is Rebecca Ellen, correct?
Yes. Charles, are you trying to imitate David T?
No, I'm just trying to look up Rebecca Ellen's Instagram.
No, I think you're trying to imitate David T by holding the phone right up against your nostrils. Now, that's a screenshot right there, folks. Somebody get that one. Get that one at Jake Asman. Tweet me immediately. Look at this. Look at this sex magnet right here. There he is. Can you stop leaving the StreamYard? It's affecting your calls. Look up Rebecca Ellen after, all right? Then you'll slide in, you dog.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said. She loves your smile. Look at this.
Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate you.
And she's not on Instagram, so we don't have to worry about it.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, my true believers.
That's right. What do you? Is that a Pepsi product or Coke?
It's a Pepsi. The Colonial House Pepsi. I don't mind it. I'm not complaining.
What is it called? The Colonial House is where you're at?
The Colonial Restaurant. It's a diner in Ford's.
Nice.
I recommend those for my fellow New Jersey people who live in my local area to try this out. It's a great diner. People here are very nice. Service is good, and the food is great too.
Now, where are you sitting? Are you at the bar, or you have your own table?
I'm at the counter. There's no bar. They don't serve alcohol. At least not yet.
You know what I mean? The counter, yeah.
The counter, yeah. It's pretty busy in here. I mean, there's a lot of people in here, which is good for business, you know?
Do they know you at the diner, Charles? Do you walk in? And
I've
you're like,
been
I'll
here
have the
for a
Gorman?
while, actually. This is I lost count, but I've been here more than several times. It's a very nice. Last Christmas, my mother gave me a gift card to the Colonial, and I tried it for the first time, and I've been a fan ever since.
So you would say that they know you around there. You walk in and they already know what the order is?
Not really. I mean, they know who I am, but I change my order once in a blue moon.
You switch it up?
Yeah, I try to switch it up, you know. Don't want to be a one-trick pony, you know.
I like it. You know, you're like a starting pitcher. Second time through the lineup, you got to show the guys something different.
Exactly. Can't wait for baseball season.
Me too.
I'm really interested in seeing how Max Fried does as a Yankee. I think he's a great pitcher when he's healthy.
Do you think Max Fried would approve of your diner order?
What?
Do you think Max Fried would approve of your diner order?
I have no idea. It depends on what he likes to eat, you know?
It's a good point.
Let me think of how's your family doing, Jake? If you don't mind me asking.
Why would I be offended by that question?
I'm not saying you would be offended because I know people don't like to get personal with me.
Why not? I'll get personal with you, Charles. I don't mind you asking how my family's doing. They're doing well. Do we see the sandwich you're eating? The chat is asking for it.
It hasn't come out yet.
Okay, we got to stay. Is it coming out soon?
1189 Paris said the Yankees overpaid for Max Fried, at least by the length of the contract.
Well, yeah, but you weren't going to be able to get him unless you gave him an 8-year deal.
And Allen said Max Fried is a tremendous Jew. He only eats kosher. I didn't know he was Jewish.
He is Jewish, but I don't know if he's kosher. Allen's just making stuff up.
I don't know about he's making stuff up, but kosher's like how it was prepared, correct? If my memory serves me correctly.
Man, there's a bunch of rules and stuff. You can't have bacon. Can't have cheese.
Rick Kent calls Max Fried as a loser. Dude, he won a World Series with the Braves, didn't he, in 2020? 2021?
He did.
So how's he a loser?
Rick Kent is just a Met fan, so he doesn't like him.
Well, I'm actually glad that Juan Soto's a Met. At least he stays in New York. I'd rather see him go to the Mets than Boston.
I agree, but I was hoping he wouldn't go to the Mets either.
Well, Rick Kent says he's a loser because he signed with the Yankees. Boo, Kent.
Boo, Kent. Boo, Kent.
We love you, Kent. Don't worry about it.
Oh, here we go. Big reveal. Sandwiches here?
No, that's not my sandwich. That's someone's order.
Ah.
There's my sandwich right now, guys.
Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you very much, man. Here's my order. Hold on.
Yes.
Here's cheese. Here's the grilled chicken. Here are the pickles.
Hell yeah.
I might put ketchup on the sucker. You know, you're lucky that Mad 60 FF guy's not on the Discord because I was thinking about getting an egg sandwich and just to aggravate him, put ketchup on it and eat it right here on. Because on the Discord, he was like, no one should put ketchup on their egg sandwiches, and I got a little pissed off about that.
I think it's a crazy take. I had a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich today, and I had ketchup on it.
I know. I know I'm going to get going eating my food. It was great talking with you guys. Rick Kent, don't be a hater. Otherwise, you can love you, Rick Kent. Thank you for following me on Instagram. Peace out, everybody.
Hey, Charles, before you go, Rebecca just wrote in, I would love to cook for Charles.
That'll be interesting, but I don't know where you live, Rebecca. Anyways, peace out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Bachelor himself, Charles Eugene M. Gorman. Now, that was electric, folks. Charles, Enjoy your sandwich. Thank you for blessing us with that. Hit the like button if you're tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line. Alex in DC is up next. Alex, where you been, man?
I'm around, man. You see, I'm working, man. Happy holidays to everybody, you know?
You too, man. You too.
Shout out to the Knicks, man. Great win yesterday. Love what they're doing. Just wanted to touch on that. What else was I gonna say? Oh, I'm gonna put a prediction out there for the Giants because I heard you was talking about the Giants. Giants are gonna beat the Colts, lose to the Eagles who bench everybody, and blow their shot at the #1 pick. I'm throwing that in the atmosphere right now.
Wouldn't it be reversed so they would lose to the Colts and then beat
I mean,
the Eagles?
beat. That's what I meant. They're gonna beat them, and then they're gonna miss out.
If that happens, I mean, you would just have to laugh if that happens.
I'm hoping it does. I'm a Giants hater, man. All my friends are Giant fans, and you can imagine. They still think like it's whenever they won 2011 or whatever it was. But yeah. What was I gonna? The reason why I called up because I've been listening, and I know you're really big on Vrabel, and I love Vrabel. I'm not knocking that at all, but all of the reasons why you love Vrabel is why I love Gruden, and then on top of it, I get somebody on the offensive side. So Gruden is my #1 guy, and then Vrabel or whoever you want to throw on top. But I just wanted to touch on that and see what you thought.
So I like Gruden, but a couple things with Gruden. Hasn't coached in a while. He would probably want a lot of control. I would need a real GM in place if I'm hiring him. And let's call it for what it is. It wasn't that great with the Raiders after he was gone for a while, and it didn't end that great in Tampa. He won a Super Bowl, obviously. No one can take that away from him. But the last couple of years, though, that's why he got fired. And then I don't know. I feel like with the Raiders, like they were 3-2 when he was forced to resign. So who knows how that would have played out? I mean, they ended up making the playoffs. I don't know. I'm not in love with Gruden. I love him as a person, the personality, the energy he brings.
Yeah.
That would be exciting. He's not as high on my list as some of the other guys with experience that are potentially available. Like I would rather Brian Flores, for example, than John Gruden.
No, I disagree. But I never bottomed out in Oakland. Like it was mediocre, you know what I mean? But it's not like he underachieved with that roster. And then I feel like, and again, this is not knocking Vrabel. I'm just kind of making the case for Gruden.
He was, what was he? He was, let's see.
He?
His record from 2018 to 2021, right? He only got 5 games that last year. Let's see. He was 4-12 his first year. They're rebuilding. 7-9, 8-8, 3-2. So yeah, I mean, it's not. It was never terrible, right?
Right. That's what. Yeah. That's what I remember. Like it was like, but it probably was what it should have been with that roster. You know what I mean? In that,
but he
division.
had a lot to do with the roster. Is my point. Like he had a lot to do with the decisions they made there.
I wouldn't give him that. And then Mayock, I thought that was a bad GM decision. Like I don't know what they were doing with that. So yeah, I get it with the control. I just want you to be the freaking head coach my offense, and develop my quarterback, whoever it's going to be. Like, and I think and then his temperament is fit for the city. I mean, just a freaking football guy, man. Like, I don't know if you watched that Bussin' with the Boys interview with him. Check it out if you get a chance. I mean,
I've seen a lot of the clips. I've seen some of the stuff he's done with Barstool, where he's diagramming plays and actually teaching them how to install. Like he's
awesome.
He's awesome. I mean, you want to hire him based off that stuff. I just feel like the Jets are at a point where we can't just I got to know what his staff would look like. I got to know
all that.
Like who the GM is. I don't want him making personnel decisions. If he's just a coach, you could sell me on it a lot easier than if because he brought in Mayock. Mayock is so what Vrabel would do is exactly what Gruden got to do. He got to pick the GM he wanted to work with. That was Mayock. So Vrabel is going to basically try and do the same thing. You're going to say, hey, who do you want to work with? And they're going to hire that guy. But Vrabel's going to have the final decision on what they do. It's going to be his vision of what the team is going to be.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. I wouldn't give him ultimate control, but I'm just really intrigued with that because I always feel like I don't care what team it is. I don't care if it's the Knicks, Jets, whatever. I always feel like, and just kind of throwing not an analogy, but a comparison out there. Like when the Knicks hired D'Antoni back in the day, I was like, this ain't gonna work. He does not fit this city. You know what I mean? And even when we drafted Zach Wilson, I'm like, I don't see this kid surviving in New York City. Like, we need people that can handle this city, man. And I just think he really can. And Vrabel can too. So, like I said, it's not an anti-Vrabel argument. It's just a pro Gruden argument. But appreciate it, man. I'm always tuned in. Let's get through these last, what is it? Is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks for the season?
Thank
2?
God it's only 2.
Yeah,
Only 2.
thank God. So, Jets fans, let's get through it. I don't know what avenue they go as far as quarterback or drafting and all that. You know, we'll chop that up in the next couple of months. But appreciate you, dog.
Alex, I appreciate you, man. Great call. I mean, that's why I think when it comes to like handling New York and specifically the Jets, experience is so important. These are not jobs for first timers with where the Jets are right now. That's why I lean with Vrabel. I lean with Dimitrov. I lean with guys who have done the jobs you're hiring them for. Like, you hire a first-time coach, you're hiring them for a role they've never had before. There's a difference in being a DC and then being a head coach, an OC and then being a head coach. It's a different job. So hire someone with the best resume that's done the job you're hiring them for. I think that includes GM. If you told me it's Dimitrov and Vrabel or Dimitrov and Flores, right? Because there's overlap with Thomas Dimitrov and Flores as well. I'm good with that. Gruden, I'm good with. You got to tell me who the GM is, though. I can't give John Gruden full control. I love the guy. I think he's awesome. I think he's so entertaining, energetic. I think he could handle this media market. I just want to know who the GM is. I'll tell you what, Fireman Ed's back up on the Jumbotron if they hire John Gruden.
It's J-E-T-S, Jets. I love Fireman Ed, too.
That's happening. NYC with a super chat. Let's not get it twisted. That Tampa team that won the Super Bowl was actually Dungy's team. Soon after, Gruden has been terrible. No, thank you. Give me Mike Vrabel. You still got to win the Super Bowl, though, man. I mean, you still get credit for that. But I get it. But it's not like Gruden wasn't a good coach with the Raiders before he got to Tampa. They got screwed in the Tuck game. Remember that? John Gruden, 8-8, 8-8, his first 2 years in Oakland, 12-4, 10-6, 12-4, 7-9. Or sorry, 12-4. That last 12-4 was with the Bucks, the year they won the Super Bowl. He was 10-6 his last year, and 0-1 with Oakland. Then, age 39, he's the Bucks coach, 12-4 champion, 7-9, 5-11, 11-5, 4-12, 9-7, 9-7. And then he's out in Tampa after 08. Then he's the Raiders coach, as we talked about, from 2018 through 2021 for just 5 games. Man, I'll tell you what. John Gruden is somehow 61 years old. You would never guess that if you just listen to the guy talk about football and his energy and all that. So age is not a thing with Gruden at all. All right, a couple of heavy hitters on the line right now. Rob V is up next. What's up, Rob?
My man, what's going on, bud?
How are you, Rob?
Good. How are you, bud?
I'm living the dream, Rob.
Living the dream. How was last night?
I didn't do much. I had to get up so early to do the radio show, so
good game to go to, though, for the Knicks game, though.
Yeah, the Knicks game yesterday was awesome. I have never been to a Knicks game on Christmas, so I could cross that one off the New York sports bucket list.
Hell yeah, great game to go to. I'm calling because, well, there was one in between me and Gormani. Alex, great call. But Boom, who else? Tom Mace, and who's the other one? Rich. I'm trying to slide up these rankings, man. That's why I'm calling in so much lately. But it's hard to follow up, Charles. Gormani, the fucking 23rd. So...
I know, man. It's tough.
Yeah, I'm trying to get up these rankings, man.
You just got to call. You got to be consistent.
I'm not calling to argue today. I'm actually in agreement with you. Listen, as far as the coach is concerned, as long as it's not Mike McCarthy or Arthur Smith, I'm good.
Honestly, I don't want McCarthy either. He's not my preference, but like you can't even compare Arthur Smith as a candidate versus Mike McCarthy. Like Mike McCarthy, I think he's not a great playoff coach. He's a good coach, though, man. Like, what he's done with Dallas even this year after losing Dak and all the injuries to Micah and Lawrence, like, That team's playing hard for him. I think he might keep his job in Dallas. Dallas might not fire McCarthy.
He might stay there. You're right about that. But like my point is, the coach. I've come around to Vrabel a little bit. I'm good with that as long as I said it's not those two. As far as like hamburgers call up, I'm still not to the point where I'm willing to risk 1 year of Aaron Rodgers to screw up our future. I just don't see any sense in it whatsoever. And as far as him being our best option, I think there's plenty of options that could help us for 1 year.
Who are the options?
Honestly, I would draft Milrow. I really would.
Well, I think you draft a quarterback.
I could use a 4-3 quarterback with a good arm that just struggles going through his projections. That's the only knock on Milrow.
Well, that's a big knock though. If the guy struggles reading defenses and going through his progressions,
yeah, but it's college though.
Yeah, but you
it's
can't.
College.
Yeah, but if it's a problem in college, it's going to need to be coached up for it to be better in the
Alabama,
NFL.
He doesn't need to go through 3 progressions. He needs to go through 1 or 2, and then he takes off. And he has.
But you're making my argument for me, Rob, that he should sit and learn, right? So you're still going to need someone to start.
I wouldn't mind him sitting and learning at all. What's the problem with saving the money, not having the cap hit roll over into the next? Well, now if we re-sign him, it will roll over for 3 years. Then basically as to 2, right? Because you got to pay him next year.
Well,
then the money doesn't start rolling over till 2026 and 27. Then
I think you're confusing his contract. If Rodgers plays next year, his cap hit is $23 million, which is nothing. That's a bargain. His dead cap would obviously increase, but I don't think the Jets would bring him back on his current contract. He's acknowledged now 3 separate times. If he's back and Devontae's back, they have to redo their deals.
But that's
take
my
a pay
point.
Cut.
You got to add Devontae's contract to that.
Yeah, but that's not affecting your dead cap. Like that's like
yeah,
Devontae
but it will the
Adams.
following years.
No. You're giving Aaron Rodgers a brand new deal. He's taking a pay cut, which would lower his salary cap, dead cap hit if he's cut after a year, which is probably the likely scenario.
So the players in the NFL work for charity, then I guess.
No, but I'm listening to what Aaron Rodgers has said, Rob. He has said that if we're back next year, we're going to have to redo our contracts. Let's take a pay cut. Devontae's not playing on his current deal. He's due $35 million non-guaranteed next year. They knew when they made the trade that they were going to have to redo his deal for him to stay. That was always, they didn't think they'd be in a spot where when they acquired him, they'd be this bad and a new GM would be coming in and all that.
What's the problem for 1 year with just taking the cap hit on now once at one time?
Well, because I believe if Aaron Rodgers takes a pay cut, he's your best option because then you're not worried about $63 million in dead cap. Let's say it's only 30.
Strap in the next GM.
But you're not really hand strapping him if he's taking a pay cut. That would mitigate what we're talking about. I don't think you're understanding that.
He still owed the money regardless.
No, he's taking less money. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Jake.
Oh my
Just
God.
because he takes next money next year, though, doesn't mean that the money from this previous years go away.
No, it does go away. He's not owed any guaranteed money after this year. He's owed a $35 million bonus if he's on the week 1 roster. That's the cash that he's owed. His actual on-field cap hit is $23 million. I don't know how they configure the dead cap versus like the void years, but he would take less and be on a different contract. He would rip up the current contract like they did when he took the first pay cut for $35 million. And the next deal he would be on would lower that dead cap. That's what we're talking about here. So it's a different contract completely. His current deal wouldn't matter.
Okay. So for example, give me a throw a figure out there that it would be that you think he would sign for.
I think he'd play for $20 million next year.
All right, give me a figure on what Devontae would sign for.
Probably
it's not gonna be less than 25.
I think it probably would be less if he's coming back. I think it would be. I mean, he's not gonna get high end wide receiver 1 money. 25 to 30 is like where the top guys are. I think Devontae probably plays for around 20 million, maybe less.
After these last like 4 or 5 games, I don't know.
Still look at his numbers overall and his age. Like what team is giving Devontae Adams a massive contract? Plus the appeal of bringing Aaron back at a reduced number is that the selling point for him is, hey, Devontae can get the money that I'm giving up to keep him so we can play
I
together.
just think that money could go to so many other areas. Like, dude, we're gonna need 6 new starters on defense.
I agree, but Rob, you're not understanding that they could still add those starters even if Rodgers was on the team for 1 year. He's only counting $23 million against your cap. I'm worried about the future salary cap, which is why
That's
Aaron
what I'm
himself,
worried about.
right?
That's all
We're
I
worried
care
about
about
the
is
same
the
thing,
future.
but you're not. You're right. We agree, but I don't think you're grasping the concept of Aaron doing a new deal, which would alleviate the concern of being stuck with $63 million, either split up over 2 years in 26 or 27, or just taking it all on the chin in 2026. That won't happen. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is back if he's unwilling to redo his deal. And I think he knows that, and he looked around the league and realizes there's not opportunities for him to start anywhere else.
Point, though. What if the new coach and the GM don't want that, though?
If they don't want Aaron, then he's gone. My big thing is let them decide what the future is.
And then you're taking a $63 million.
No. If they don't want him, you're taking a $49 million dead cap. You rip off the Band-Aid, you do it all in 2025.
Okay, so whatever, 63-49, it's still a lot of money.
Rob, you're not listening. 49 is if they cut him immediately after the year. 63
Post-June 1st.
Yes, but they designate him as a post-June 1st cut.
Yeah.
$49 million. If the Jets decide, hey, Aaron Rodgers, we're going to bring you back on the exact same contract you're on, which is never going to happen. Then if they cut him after the 2025 season, it would then be $63 million. It's never going to happen. He's not going to play in his current deal. No new GMs coming in being like, yes, let's have Rodgers on his current deal for 1 year and then deal with $63 million in dead cap in 2026. That will not happen.
Yeah, that's my point. It will not happen. But who's to say? We're assuming that Rodgers.
He said it. He said it. We're not assuming. These are his words.
I don't care what anybody says until they do it.
He already did it once. He already took the
time. That's my point. He did it once. How many
he's
times
not playing well. He's not playing well to justify. Rob, you're getting killed in the chat. I'm trying to explain it the best I can.
I don't give a fuck what the chat says. You know what I mean? I could care less. I'm just concerned about the future of our team.
And I'm telling you.
1 year.
Okay, so listen to me, Rob. I love you. I'm trying to help you. Please listen to me, man.
Go ahead.
He has said he would take a pay cut again. He has said that. So as long as he does that, then he's their best option on a pay cut. That's the argument. As long as a new coach and GM feels the same I do, I want Rodgers as the quarterback next year on a pay cut contract.
I don't see any GM saying I want him back. I don't with Devontae.
So who's your quarterback then next year? That's what we're talking about. You brought up Jalen.
My point is I'm drafting a quarterback.
Right. They're going to do that anyway, though. That's the point.
Yeah. Then you'll have a quarterback on a rookie deal, right?
Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers as the bridge for a year.
What the people who are killing me in the chat are failing to realize is there's 23 people on our team with expiring contracts, right? We're going to need 6 new starters on defense.
Where are you getting 6 from? But anyway, whether Aaron.
What do you mean? We're going to need a new corner. We're going to need a whole new defensive line, basically, other than JJ and who else will come back? Will McDonald.
Whether Aaron is the quarterback or not. Right. Whether Aaron's the quarterback or not, they're going to need to make moves. They have cap space to make the requisite moves you're discussing here.
Yeah, I know they have some money. Of course.
Right. So
what do they got? Like 40 or 60 million or something like that?
I will have a Jet salary cap person on when we get closer to this actually being a thing.
I need to know the real numbers.
But the real numbers are what I told you, though. I've given you the real numbers, and I'm telling you Aaron Rodgers would be back on a contract that would be significantly less than what he has now. So with that said, you have to tell me what your plan is at quarterback if you don't want Aaron. It's easy to say move on from the guy. My pushback would be, who are they bringing in?
If it is 23 million, then I could Then I could get with the Aaron Rodgers coming back then. If it's just if they rip up that old contract and it's just going to be 23 million for 1 year, I could deal with that.
Ladies and gentlemen, a couple comments here for Rob to respond to. John Gotti says, Rob V is as dumb as a pot of meatballs.
Yeah, John Gotti, don't get me going here, please.
Dicker the Kicker says
today's
you're a
not the day.
crack connoisseur. I'm telling you, the chat's going in on you, Rob. We're gonna give you a chance to respond. That's what we do around here.
Jake? Do you really want me to go to respond to the chat? Because I don't think we should do that.
Well, I mean, look, you have the right to defend yourself. Russ wants to know, did you have your meds today?
Okay, are you ready? How about this? Next time we go to T Squared, ready? Or we go to a Jet game, I wish one of you will come up and say that to my face. That's all I'm asking for. Just say it to my face.
JV says Rob is a bit dumb.
What's dumb about not wanting to fuck up our future? I'm not understanding.
Andres writes in, Jake, explain it 50 more times. Maybe then he'll understand.
Yeah, Andre, go take a fucking walk, you fucking mook.
King Lowski writes in, Rob, start talking and listen, son.
Yo, King, I love you, but don't get me going, please. Because I will start cooking, and I don't want to do that on Jake's show. Because all you are fanned out. That's what it is. It's fanned out. If you can't see that fucking Rodgers was absolute trash for the first 10 weeks, then I can't help you.
Shake and Bake says, love you, Rob.
I appreciate you, Shake and Bake. But I'm going to get off. There's plenty of other callers. I'm just saying, my whole point in this whole thing is I just don't want to risk our future for 1 year of a quarterback. That's it.
Prestige says, Rob V, you're as soft as Charmin. Be silent, peasant.
Yo, hold on. Check the resume, bro. Look me up online. You tell me if I'm soft or not. That's all I gotta say. I don't gotta fucking sit here and fucking act like a tough guy or fucking do anything, bro. Just look the stats up, okay? You want to talk football? Look my stats up. That's all we gotta talk about. And that's all I have to say. Have a good day, everyone. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Even though you're a hater, I still got love for you. We're all Jets fans. I'm just concerned about the Jets. I'm more concerned about the Jets' future than I am about 1 year of a quarterback that was absolute trash until 4 weeks ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Rob V. Hey, Rob, you wanted to try and get ranked this month? I was doing my best to give you a chance to get on the list with an epic call. I was doing my best there, Rob. Appreciate it. Now, if someone does want to look up Rob, do we just Google Rob V? How do we actually look up Rob? I'd love to see his stats. That sounds fun. Do we have highlights, Rob? Should we get Fialco on to break it down? That'd be fun. Bo with a super chat. Good arguments in the chat. As long as we hire a head coach, GM with stripes on the collar, we should be in good shape. Jake's 100% with no first-timers. Resume. I agree, man. Thank you, Bo. No first-timers. Look, if I have to pick which I'm more comfortable with, like the GM or the coach being a first-timer, I'd rather the first-time GM than the first-time coach. But I want experience at both. Get me John Dorsey or Thomas Dimitroff. That's what I want. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline right now is this guy.
Plants are trying to kill me, so I think I'll eat a stick of butter. Rob V. Calmati. Stai tranquilo. Calm down. It's okay. You'll be all right. Like, I don't think Rodgers is going to be back, but he could be. And if he reworks his deal, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Like, it's not my first option. I don't really know what my first option is, but his worst take there is not the Rodgers thing. It's the Jalen Milroe thing. Look, this idea that we're just going to stick an athlete at quarterback and it's going to work out is fine, except it's stupid and it doesn't work. We see it with AR-15. We see it over and over again.
What about Josh Allen?
Well, Josh Allen, he played at Wyoming. I mean, I guess it worked. Yeah, no, all right, fair enough.
His completion percentage sucked in college. It was like in the low 50s.
Yeah, he was second team all. Yeah, no, I get it. I didn't really watch him in college at Wyoming. I'm not going to really comment on him, but the names that we did see, it doesn't work. Like if the guy's not good in college, Will Levis, it's just still, besides maybe closer, the hardest position to play in all of professional sports. I'm just going to stick an athlete there. It's not just his processing time. Watch his mechanics. He's falling all over himself. Like I said, he might be good, but it's going to be 4 years until he is. And like, it's just not worth taking a first round because he's going to go in the first round. He's going to go to his pro day and everyone's going to be like, oh my God, look at this guy. And he's the best athlete on the field. I get it. But he's not any good at playing quarterback. Like, and that's a problem in the NFL. You can get away with it in college. It's not
he won't
work.
play, but I don't think he should play right away if they were to take him. But I won't criticize the Jets if they drafted him in the second round or they traded back into the late first, like what the Ravens did with Lamar.
I had this bet. I bet you he goes in the top 10. So if the Jets are going to take him, they're going to have to stay put and take him. He's a crazy athlete. Someone's going to fall in love with him, and they're going to make a mistake and take him in the top.
I don't
He's
think
not going in the second round.
Look, I'm not an expert on this, but even the experts get it wrong all the time, so who knows? But I'm not. I don't think he's a top 10 pick. I could be wrong. Quarterbacks get overdrafted, so maybe he skyrockets. But I probably wouldn't take him in the top 10 if the draft were today. But my opinion might change based on what they end up doing this offseason.
If you're going to take a quarterback in the first round, where do you want him to pan out to be? Like I always say, if I'm taking him in the first round, I want him to be a top 12 quarterback in the league. Top 12. Second round.
I want him to be a 10-year starter, at least.
Okay, so that's generally a top 12 quarterback, right? The mid quarterbacks don't usually. Okay, he's not going to be that, right? Like,
how do you know? Did you think Josh Allen was going to be that? Like, we don't know.
I didn't watch Josh Allen didn't play on the biggest program in college football. We watch him every week, right? Milroe does. He's got stinkers, man, and it's not just like he has bad games. Watch him throw. If a guy like that walked into my gym, I would say, let's go all the way back. We're going to start with 4 rounders, and we're going to build you up. You're not like, why are you spending a first-round pick on someone you basically have to teach the quarterback position to? It's just not a wise draft pick. I'm not saying he can't.
The argument would be you have a quarterback that plays so he doesn't have to. He sits, he learns, he soaks up information. You hire hopefully a great offensive staff that could coach him up. That's the argument.
Yeah, I know. It just seems if I'm spending a first-round pick, especially with a Jets pick at 8 or 7 or wherever they end up picking, if I'm picking a quarterback there, I want him to be knowledgeable on the position, knowing what he's doing day one. If I take him in the 3rd round or the 4th round, I have a little bit more patience. But I don't. And you're seeing this over and over again. Like Young is 10 times better than Jalen Milroe, and Young got benched. It looked like it was over for Young until he got his second shot. Like if he comes to New York, he's going to start at some point this year. Either if Rodgers gets hurt or if they have another bridge quarterback, that guy's going to hurt or suck, and they're going to go at Milroe. And he's going to suck off the bat. He is, because he's not ready. And then it's just going to be – he's better than Zach Wilson. I'm not comparing him to Zach Wilson, so don't say that. But it's going to be Zach Wilson 2.0 where we can't draft the quarterback. He sucks. It's going to be like 2 weeks into his tenure. And I'm telling you right now, he's not going to be good off the bat. I'm not saying he can't ever be good, but it's going to be a long process until he is.
I don't know. I mean, it's such a crapshoot. You just
it's a crapshoot because you're taking a guy that you need to develop. You need to build him from scratch, basically, right? He's not
but if you hit on
ready-made guy.
Yeah, but Milroe, I mean, if he does develop, he could be what Josh Allen is. Can he not? Or Lamar Jackson? He's that kind of athlete.
He's that kind of athlete. He is that kind of. He's the best athlete on the field for sure.
So like that, there's value in that if you could get the right quarterback.
Lamar Jackson was one of the best college players you ever saw in your life. I said when Lamar Jackson got better, he's Michael Vick, but better than Michael Vick. Like, he's not better than Vick. Like, yeah, he is.
No,
right?
Lamar and
college player.
Yeah, and if you could do that draft over, Lamar doesn't get past number 2. So yeah, of course. But but Lamar wasn't Lamar right away. It took Lamar, about a year and a half before he became the player he's been.
Well, he came in and made the playoffs his first year. I know that they were already 500 with Flacco, but he came in and
yeah, but that he wasn't throwing in that offense. Like they didn't let him throw. Like he couldn't pass. Like he's now an elite passer.
Yeah, and that was my problem with not my problem with the way they coached Allen. You go back Allen's rookie year, they played him like he was Tim Tebow, and I understand he can run, he's big and strong, but he's got the best arm I'd ever seen, like ever. Period.
Yeah,
Why
he
are we
wasn't
playing
accurate
him
though?
like
what was his completion percentage as a rookie?
it was not good. But you remember the offense they had? It was like they were trying to play Tebow. It's like, just let him play. Like, if you drafted him in the first round for his talent, let him. And whatever, it worked out. Now he's the best quarterback.
Yeah, but
best
guys aren't. But like Allen's the point. Like, guys aren't ready to play right away. A lot of times they need time. So it's like I don't want to force anyone to play right away that they would draft. That's why I think there's value in having a Hall of Famer who's willing to mentor the guy they pick be there. I mean,
I'm not totally against keeping Rodgers anymore, like I was 3-4 weeks ago. If he's going to rework his deal, he's played well enough these last couple of weeks where it's like, I don't have any better options, so I guess we'll just go with this. Like,
that's the thing. If there were better options out there, then it's easy to say you move on. But someone's got to tell me what the better option is, because I really don't think there is an obvious one right now.
Then the other thing, the coaching thing, Pete Carroll. Can we stop with the senior citizen? Like, Pete Carroll again. It wouldn't be the worst hire in the world, but there are better candidates than Pete Carroll, who's 70-something years old. Like,
look at you being an ageist.
An ageist and a sexist, right? Like,
yeah, that's the bad guy.
Fine. It is what it is. Like, I'm not going to fight you. But seriously, like, he's 70-something years old. I'm not saying he's obviously a great coach at both levels, college and NFL. Great coach. He's 70 years old. Vrabel, Brian Flores, like, those guys still know how to use the internet, right? Like, they're not that old. Like, it's not any disrespect to Carroll, but you could see the game was starting to pass him at the end of Seattle. How 2 years later we're going to bring him back and think it's going to get better? It's not. Like, put him out the stud, so to speak. It's over for Carroll. He'll go to the Hall of Fame. If he's already in the Hall of Fame, he'll go to the Hall of Fame. It's fine. But like, let's bring in someone who's not geriatric. Like, seriously. Like,
wow.
Vrabel, Flores are 1 and 2. I don't care what order. Vrabel wants to be here, so just hire Vrabel. Flores would be my other choice. And then at that, Gruden, but I don't think you need to go beyond one of those two guys. You can get one of those two guys.
If Rodgers switched to the Gary diet, he'll play better. That's according to Rex Ryan.
If Rodgers eats similar to my diet, he kind of hinted at eating mostly meat on the Tucker Carlson interview.
He
said all the things a carnivore would say. What was that?
He said he eats butter sticks.
I don't know, but he was talking about eating cholesterol. Your grandfather walked around with a cholesterol level of 300. Cholesterol is good for your brain. It combats diseases. He was saying all the things a carnivore would say. I don't know his diet, but he was saying a lot of the things I would say.
I'm curious, Gary. What were your thoughts on Bobby Midnight saying that his doctor had concerns over his diet when he told her what he was consuming on the phone?
That's fine. I mean, I didn't hear I didn't hear that. Is that in the beginning of the show?
Yeah, well, Bobby called in about an hour ago, and he
Okay.
said that he spoke with his doctor. He's speaking with a nutritionist next week, but the nurse on the phone had some concerns over his diet.
I don't know. Like, he's eating meat and animal products, things we've eaten for thousands of years, right? If he was eating protein bars and cereal, the doctor would say that's fine. It's just everything in the world is backwards. Eat junk, drink poison, inject yourself with chemicals, you'll be fine. Eat meat? Oh no, can't do that. It's everything in the world has gone backwards.
So what you're telling me, Gary, is that you think a nurse is incorrect.
A nurse could certainly. I'm not saying all nurses are incorrect. A nurse could be incorrect. That's correct.
All right.
Yes. The third or fifth leading cause of death in this country is medical error. Look it up. It's the top 5 every year. So, I mean, you don't think a nurse could be incorrect?
Did Bobby say his nurse or
infallible?
doctor? Chad, help me out for those who heard the call. Did Bobby say it was his nurse or his doctor who expressed concerns with the diet? Might have been a doctor. I don't know.
You told me that he would lose more weight had he not eaten butter. He's lost 30 pounds in 3 weeks. How much more would he have lost if he didn't eat butter and ate something else instead?
But he'd be healthier. The butter stuff is not good.
Okay, so how is he not healthier than he was 3 weeks ago? That's the part I don't understand. Right? His inflammation is down. His aches and pains are gone. He's sleeping through the night for the first time in years. He says his energy levels are high.
I think it's not healthy.
How would he be healthy?
I don't know if it's healthy to lose weight that quickly, like that fast.
A lot of it is fat. Most of it is fat. A lot of it is inflammation too. His inflammation has gone down. That's going to be the first thing that goes down. Losing weight is fine. It's losing it and gaining it like fighters do, right? Like, I would lose 11 pounds in a day and then gain it back all the next day and water weight. That's really, really bad for you. That's not what he's doing. He's just losing fat. Like if you fasted for 3 days, as somebody as overweight as him, he's gonna lose a lot of weight. Is fasting for him bad? No.
You're the reason why I am my way.
There's nothing bad that's going to happen from you from eating meat. Butter, you could have a dairy allergy, and that's why I asked him, do you have a dairy allergy? He said, butter's fine. There's nothing bad that's gonna like what bad negative effect do you think he's gonna have from eating meat and butter? Like what bad thing could happen to him?
Peter Castro writes in, if Bobby gets sick, Gary will be sued.
That's fine, right? Like it's fine. But so far, like I said, he's down 30 pounds. His energy levels are through the roof. Highest they said he's been in years. He's sleeping through the night for the first time that he can remember. His aches and pains are gone in his feet. He can feel his feet again, he said. And his inflammation is down. I think these are all good things. I don't understand like what negative thing that you're gonna get. Like, if he was eating protein bars and breakfast cereal, you would say, oh, good job, Bob. It's like, no, he's eating garbage. He's eating chemicals and processed garbage. Those are the things that kill you quickly, not slowly.
The hamburger says his doctor disagrees with your diet plan, Gary.
Okay, well, the results are the results, right? Do you disagree with the results? I mean, it's a result-oriented thing. If you think eating meat is bad for you, make the argument. But you can't because people have been eating meat for thousands of years. It doesn't make any sense. We've only been eating garbage, right? Like if you think about it, like in all of human history, thousands of years, people have only been trying to lose weight for like the less than 100, let's say 60 years. Before that, no one lost weight. When did we do that? When we developed agriculture, people started eating garbage. Then all of a sudden, we needed to lose weight. When people only ate meat, they didn't have to lose weight. Butter is better than margarine. I don't know what margarine is exactly. I don't know that I've ever had margarine. I mean, I know what it is, but what's in margarine? Do you know, Jake? Probably a bunch of stuff I would recommend not eating.
Gary, thank you for the time.
All right. Thank you.
What a call. Some super chats here. Julio, I'm in for Jackson Dart in the later rounds. Any late round dart throw, you're not gonna hear me criticize him. It's a dart throw. Kyle says 1 year won't wreck us at the right money due to, with all due respect to Rob. Yeah, I mean, look, if Aaron redoes his deal, it's because he understands it's a year thing. So, yeah, 100%. I don't think Aaron's the quarterback next year unless he took another pay cut. They're not going to give him a $35 million option bonus that's going to trigger the $63 million dead cap charge if they cut him after next season. There's just no way. He's gonna if that option bonus goes down to $15 million. I don't know how it works. Would it go from like $63 million in dead charge to 63 minus 15? Then it's more manageable because then you could split that up over 2 years, and let's say it's about $20 million each of the next two. Then it's worth it. You could deal with $20 million in dead cap for 2 years to have Aaron Rodgers be the quarterback next year and mentor the person you draft behind him, and be competitive with a real coach next year. Like then I think it's interesting. If it's only $20 million each year, you could deal with that. You don't want $63 million over 1 year. No GM is going to do that. Jay Taylor with a super chat. Why do we want Rodgers and Adams back so bad? To go 7-10 and piss off Garrett even more. Tyrod is just as injury prone as Aaron, but a lot cheaper. You can't say that. Tyrod is not just as injury prone as Aaron. Tyrod Taylor has suffered way more injuries in his career that knock him out of games. Aaron's about to probably play 17 games this year. Now, we could argue if he should have played 17. I think there's a compelling case to be made. They should have sat him down for a few games and let him get healthy. But I don't think we could say it's just the same. And Aaron, I think, is better than Tyrod Taylor. And why do I want Adams back? Because he's really good. That's why. Who's playing receiver next year, right? You move on from Rodgers and start Tyrod. You have Garrett Wilson, and then who else is catching passes for you, Jay Taylor? Who's the second receiver on the team? It's not Lazard. He's getting cut. Xavier Gibson, Malachi Corley? Is Jason Brownlee still in the practice squad? Brandon Smith, remember he got called up ahead of Corley a couple weeks ago? So you tell me what your plan is, not just quarterback, but receiver if you're getting rid of Rodgers. That's my thing. You could, if a new GM comes in and that's what they want to do, fine, but they better have a plan. And I don't know if they're going to go 7-10 if they brought back Rodgers and Adams next year. What if they go, I don't know, 10-7 and make the playoffs and end the longest playoff drought in sports? They can't be this year's Chargers or Broncos with better coaching? Really? I don't know. Have you watched the Texans? They're not that great. And the Jets beat them. That team's going to have a home playoff game for the second year in a row. I don't know. I'm not giving up on next year. Julio says, Bruce Arians over Carroll if age doesn't matter. Look, if they want to interview Bruce Arians, I'm in. I've heard nothing about Bruce Arians, though. He retired, right? I mean, he stepped down from coaching. He's 72. He's a year younger than Carroll. I don't think he wants to be a head coach again. More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob V has called back in. Rob, is there something that's bothering you?
Yeah, the chat wanted me to call in and talk to Gary. So if Gary's still here, let's bring him on.
Do you have issues with Gary?
No, I love Gary, but let's talk Milrow. Let's go, Gary.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of all ages, welcome to the event of the year, the moment you've all been waiting for. This is the Asmaniac Rumble.
My Siciliano, my cugino, come si dice?
My cugino, how we doing, buddy? Listen,
Bene.
listen,
What's up?
ready? So, you started off with something about Milrow not being good, right?
He's not ready. I'm not taking a
Did I ever say
project
he
like
was
that in the
ready?
first round.
Did I say he was ready?
No, and that's why I wouldn't take him in the first.
Okay,
That's all I'm saying
okay,
is he's
okay,
a project,
okay,
and he may be
okay.
good down the road, but not
Okay,
anytime
because
soon.
none of the quarterbacks are ready, to be honest with you.
I mean, look, Shedeur Sanders, I'm not a huge Sanders fan. Like, if you said who has more upside, Sanders or Milrow, I'd say Milrow has more upside, but Shedeur Sanders...
100%.
Shedeur Sanders is more NFL ready than Jalen Milrow is. Like,
Okay,
Shedeur Sanders
so
will be
now,
okay.
Gary, I know you have a computer in front of you, but don't use it right now.
All right.
What are Milrow's stats from this year?
They're drastically better than last year. You're saying he's a...
No. I want to know the numbers. What is Milrow's stats from last year, from this year?
I don't have his touchdowns. What are they? They're drastically...
I want you to tell me. I'm asking you to tell me.
Okay. All right. I'm going to look him up.
All right, go ahead. Now use your computer. Go ahead. Go Google it.
I don't know his stats on the top of my head. So
go ahead. Use it.
So he's got
use your computer
15 touchdowns. 15
and what?
15
How many
touchdowns and
interceptions?
10 interceptions.
There we go. Okay. Now, what did he do this past year? What did he do this past summer and off season? See, nobody fucking
season,
knows.
2024.
Nobody knows. Everyone watches one game of Alabama and has an opinion. Let's go. We could do this all
Alabama
day.
is the biggest program in the country. Every game they play is nationally televised. Everyone watches.
Everyone
Milrow
watches
every
one
week.
game of
Everyone watches Milrow
Alabama
every
and
week.
has an opinion. So let's go. What did he do this past off season?
Everyone has watched Milrow for the last 3 years. We know
What
he
did
is.
Milrow do this past
We know what
off
Milrow
season?
is.
What did he do?
What did he do
Two
this
different
past-
things
I don't
happened to
know, Rob.
Milrow. Two different things happened to Milrow this offseason. What were they?
He got a new coach. That's one.
Okay,
What's
there you
the-
go.
what's the
There's
other
one.
thing?
There's one. You got one. I'm proud of you. What's the second one?
Thank you, Rob. He's got a new
What's the
quarterback
second
coach.
one? Well,
I
obviously
don't
he
know,
got
I'm
a new
asking you.
quarterback coach because he got a new head coach. Now, what else did he do though?
I don't know, Rob. I'm asking.
He
you
changed
can
his
tell
whole
me.
throwing motion, changed all of his mechanics, right? For the pros, right?
Which still aren't good, by the way. He's still falling all over himself.
Yeah,
It's like he hasn't
it was
played
his
the position
first
before.
year. It was his first year under this new coach, right? It was his first year after learning a whole new throwing motion.
And how's it working?
And
for
now,
him?
as far as Milrow, well, it's to be determined, is my point. So, okay, there's people in the chat that say, oh, Milrow sucks, but I'm willing to take I'm willing to take a chance on Jackson Dart in the 3rd round, though.
Look, if you're saying I want to take Milroe in round 3, this is a totally different conversation. But he's
I'm
such
not
an
talking
athlete.
about
He's going
taking
in the top
Milroe
10.
at
I'm
8.
telling you right now, he will be taken. It's not that strong of a quarterback class. Someone's going to overdraft Milroe. So if you want to draft Milroe, you're going to have to take him with wherever we end up picking, 7, 8, whatever. Like that's where he's going to go. Are you okay with taking him in the first round?
To answer Jake's question about wide receiver, number 1, you could do it in free agency, but also number 2, you could draft McMillan at 8 then.
Yeah, McMillan's fine. Like he's good, but like he would have been the 4th receiver off the board last year. Can we just be honest with what T-Mac is? He's good. And like if the Jets pick him, it's not a terrible pick. But he's not as good as Garrett Wilson. He's not that kind of receiver. He's not as good as
Milroe,
or Neighbors.
But Milroe, okay, other than his stats, which his stats are his stats for a reason, because A, the new coach, and B, he went through a whole new change in mechanics and throwing motion, which he struggled with so far. Milroe, like I said before, runs a 4.340. We can't use that, right?
Again, drafting an athlete and hoping he can play quarterback doesn't work. It doesn't work.
He also throws one of the most accurate deep balls in all of college football.
I disagree that his deep balls are accurate. I think his deep balls are erratic at best.
Well, look at the stats. I guarantee you he's top 5 in accuracy in deep balls. He struggles in the middle of the field. And that's because of his progressions, and that's what they're going to teach him.
No, he's got a big arm, but like that's me. It doesn't really matter. Like you're an NFL quarterback, you better have a big arm. Like it doesn't.
They're going to teach, but that's my point. When you get a new coaching staff in here that's competent and a good OC, they're going to teach him, and he's going to learn to go through his progressions. And in college, you could get like Cam Ward. People are talking about drafting Cam Ward with the 1st overall pick, right? Cam Ward is a 1 progression quarterback. He either looks for the first guy or he takes off, right?
More or less, yeah. He's
so
like
what's the
Caleb
difference? Why is Cam Ward ready, but Milroe's not?
Because he has shown accuracy. He's shown good decision making. He's shown a lot of things. A lot more accurate in the middle. He's in the middle of the field. He's a lot better right now than Jalen Milroe is. Cam Ward.
No, Cam Ward is Jameis Winston 2.0.
Cam Ward can run. Cam Ward doesn't have the arm that
Cam Ward can't run like Milroe.
No, he can't run like no one can run like Milroe. Like Milroe,
Cam Ward's not even that fast.
Like Lamar Jackson. What was that?
Cam Ward's not even that fast.
He's not as fast as Jalen Milroe. He's fast like Zach Wilson is.
But my point is, Cam Ward's ready though. According to all of you people in the chat hating, Cam Ward's gonna go number 1, and he's.
On behalf of the Jake Asman Show, we apologize for the foul language.
Sorry for the foul language.
I don't think Cam Ward. I think both Cam and Shador are going to be kind of mid. Like if you're going to take him, I
think Milroe has the highest ceiling by far. Now, if Drew Aller was coming back, which I called, I knew he was going to go back to school. Now that's a different story. However, Milroe's got to be, to me, better than, as an overall prospect, Milroe is better than Cam Ward and Shador.
A better prospect, you mean has a higher upside?
Has a higher upside by far. Let him sit for the first 10 weeks.
But he also has a much lower basement than both of those guys. Like he could absolutely be horrible.
Cam Ward's gonna throw 20 interceptions next year.
You don't think Milroe, if Milroe started next year, you don't think he's going to throw a bunch of interceptions?
It depends who are quarterback coaches and who our offensive coordinator is.
Into tight windows, he's erratic down the field.
Because what are they supposed to? What are offensive coordinators supposed to do? Which we don't do. We haven't done in God knows how long. You're supposed to cater to your talent, not like run your offense and then just expect the players to just do what you think they should do. No, cater to your players and their skill sets.
When you have a guy that consistently misses over the middle of the field on the intermediate stuff, and he has no touch on his long stuff, You think
Who
that he's
doesn't have
not going to
touch?
throw a
Who
bunch
doesn't have touch?
Jalen Milrow. You think he's not going to throw interceptions at the next level? Of
All
course he
right,
is.
I'm done talking because you obviously haven't watched his tape. God bless you guys.
God bless too. Yeah.
Yo, go watch his tape. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
I've seen him play every game pretty much for the last 3
I don't
years.
believe it for a second. I don't believe it for a second.
He played for Alabama. It's like saying I haven't seen Pat Mahomes play. He's on at the college program. We've all seen
I don't
Jalen Milrow
believe
play
it
for the
for
last
I
3
don't
years.
believe it for a second. If you're telling me
All
he
right.
doesn't have touch.
Touch on his deep balls? No, he throws line drives.
He's one of the most accurate deep ball throwers in all of college football.
Based off of what, though? Like, this is the same thing they said about Zach Wilson because he threw a bunch of 50-50 balls.
No. They said that about Zach Wilson
Troy
because
State.
of one throw he made in short. Stop it.
But that's what they said about Zach Wilson. I was like, well, not if you watch him. If you watch him, he's completely erratic and he has no touch. And that's
He made that deep ball throw in shorts in a fucking gymnasium. Okay, let's be real here.
I wasn't for drafting him. I thought it was going to be the worst pick ever, and it was.
Me too. Now I saw Big Rob on here. I don't know what he had to say, but anyway, listen. All I'm gonna tell you is, if people are really gonna talk, go back and watch tape. That's it.
What up, Rob from Glenhead?
What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Same to you,
too,
bro.
Milrow, I really don't have an opinion. I've never watched him play, so I'm not going to say anything. I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, Rob V could be right. I don't know. So I'm not going to form an opinion on him. I know he has a lot of talent and he's raw, but, I mean, there's upswing there.
Raw in terms of reading progressions. That's the only thing that he struggles with.
Right. That's what I'm saying, Rob V.
That's the only.
Women.
What a debate. What a back and forth. We'll be talking about that for decades to come. The great Milrow debate. We can already tell which prospect's going to be the most polarizing this offseason. It's going to be Milrow. Last year it was Bowers. This year it's going to be Milrow. Incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button. Last chance to super chat. If you missed the announcement earlier, the grand raffle prize for our next giveaway, every $20 super chat, you get 5 raffle tickets, or every membership gifted, you get a raffle ticket, is the Super Bowl III Joe Namath replica championship ring. If the camera would focus, you guys would actually be able to see it, but you have to take my word for it. It's a Namath ring. I'll post a picture in the Discord after the show. All right. One last call for this show. Let's say hello to Kyle Clifton. Hello, Kyle.
What's going on, Jake? So,
Kyle, how are you?
I'm good, man. No complaints. I think that, like you, I don't watch a ton of these guys, these prospects. But I think the key part that came up in the last call is you draft for upside. Like I remember in the Sam draft, I remember thinking, and I read a lot of the draft reports in these guys. I subscribe to a couple of sites, and I go out there on the internet and I watch whatever clips I can when their names are being mentioned prominently. And I'm always looking for the guy who I think has the highest ceiling. Because if you're going to take a lottery ticket, why don't you go for the whole shebang? And in that draft, I thought that Josh Allen was the guy based on the upside. I thought that Sam had kind of a low floor, a high floor. And, I guess the current regime at the time was comfortable with that and whatever. But I think that's a good axiom to live by. Always draft for the upside. Now,
I don't know about that, though. Like, they tried that with Becton. How'd that work out? They should have just taken Wirfs.
Well,
I think it depends on the position.
They were also looking for a left tackle. That's the mistake, right? Like, if you're looking inside the 15, you're probably looking to draft a left tackle. If you're looking for a right tackle, you're probably looking outside the top 15, right?
Yeah, for me, quarterback is such a crapshoot. Like, even if you think a guy has like a high floor, like a lot of times they suck. So it's just like you just never know.
Yeah, but my whole thing with Josh Allen is, he's getting a lot of noise about MVP this year, and To me, he's like the third or fourth guy in the pecking order when I look at it, and I think he's having a great year. But
I think Lamar's the favorite after yesterday.
Yes, for sure. And then, like, if you take a look at it, like, he's in his 7th year now. If he doesn't like advance to the AFC Championship game and probably win it, is it ever going to happen for Josh Allen? Like, I don't know.
I won't go that far just because like
he's
the
still
best
relatively
team
young.
Yeah, and like the problem is there's the Chiefs in the way for everyone. But right now, like I've been fading the Chiefs all year. History's on your side. There's ever been a team that's won 3 in a row. But who's beating them at Arrowhead now, right? They have 26 days off before they play another meaningful game. You know, they're healthy. Mahomes is playing his best ball. They have the number 1 scoring defense in the league. Kelsey's going to be reinvigorated with all the time off now. I don't know if anyone's beating the Chiefs in the AFC. I think there's only 3 teams that could get to the Super Bowl. It's KC, Baltimore, Buffalo, but I feel like Kansas City's going back to the Super Bowl.
I kind of want to be proved wrong on Josh Allen because I like him as a player and he seems like a pretty good guy. But and you know, a lot of times I think that the Chiefs do it with scheme and smoke and mirrors. Although, you know, Xavier Worthy's played great for them. I feel like Kelsey's on his last legs. But like, I feel like even with the 1 loss this year, I kind of felt like they had to be taken. But like that's my whole thing with Allen is I always thought there was high upside. He hasn't done it yet. And I feel like it's starting to get a little late. Like it feels like he can't get over the hump for whatever reason. That's my only point.
Yeah, there's still time though, right? There's still time, and you know, he obviously had the difficult loss to Burrow a couple of years ago. He had the loss last year to Mahomes. You know, the 13-second game, like, was that on Josh Allen or that was simply on the Bills' defense? Leslie Frazier not being prepared at the end there, right? So it's tricky. Allen's a great quarterback, but it's kind of like the Michael Jordan example for like the superstar players in the 90s in the NBA. Like Patrick Ewing would have maybe a couple rings if Michael Jordan didn't exist. Like think about the amount of people that Mahomes is blocking from rings with his greatness.
Yep. Thanks for your time, Jake.
Kyle, appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, I said that was going to be the last call, but that wouldn't be fair to this guy, baby.
Butt plugs.
What's up, Rob? Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Well, not quite Happy New Year yet, but how did you enjoy with your family, Jake? Everything good?
It was magical. I didn't see any of them yesterday. I was at the Knicks game, and then I was just chilling because I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning today.
Oh, that sucks. Well, just wanted to call Jake, just reiterating that it just seems like the likelihoodness of Aaron coming back next year is looking like it could most definitely happen now, especially since he kind of went on record that he would take a pay cut, and he feels to think that Devontae would also. So in lieu of that, you know, and cutting Lazard, you know, I don't think we really have much of a choice in the matter. And then hopefully with competent, you know, head coach like a Vrabel, we'll be able to implement Malachi Corey and anybody else that we pick up. Gibson, I think, has to be cut and let go. He's definitely not the answer. I've seen enough of him for a lifetime. As far as the GMs, Jake, you know, I like Agnew and I like Dorsey, but now you're starting to convince me on this guy, Thomas Dimitroff. I mean, his resume does sound good. I mean, if they hired Dimitroff with Vrabel, I would also love that. I mean, that looks like something that could really work for us.
I mean, they would hire 2 experienced guys that have had a lot of success at the roles you're hiring them for. That's my big thing. We hire these first-time guys and expect them to be great. We don't know. They've never done the job before. Like, that's my big thing. You hire a first-time head coach. It's a big difference in being an OC or a DC and then being a head coach. I'm not saying you can never hire a first-timer, but if you got a guy who's on the record saying he wants your job, hire him, and that's Mike Vrabel.
I think we're to the point right now, Jake, which you would agree, we really can't go for one-timers, people coming in for the first time. We're to the point right now, if we bring back Aaron Rodgers, Devontae, and we bring in a Vrabel and a Dimitroff, like you said, chances are, and we fix our defensive line, our offensive line is there. There's no reason not to think that we could win 10 games next year. Why couldn't we? You went through all the games. If we had competent coaches this year, if we had a Vrabel this year, you're going to tell me that we would not be sitting with at least 8, maybe 9 wins? I mean, that wouldn't be outlandish.
I think the Jets are 9-6 with Mike Vrabel as their coach this year right now.
Yeah. Maybe Buffalo would still be in first. That's fine. But you know what? All you have to do is get in, Jake, and have a hot game. And we know that Aaron has won in the playoffs before. Yes, Josh Allen is a great quarterback, but he still has to take it to the next level and beat a Mahomes or Lamar or anyone else. So you know what? We're in. We have a shot. So you know what? Yeah, I'd rather take one more chance, bring these guys in. They got to take a pay cut, like you said. But what's the alternative? You did a half-an-hour show the other day, which I watched, and you ran through everything. Like, what quarterbacks could we put in place other than Aaron? And none of them really sound viable. We would be essentially throwing away 2025 if we go the other route. And if another head coach comes in and another GM and they say, I'm sorry, that's what we're doing, then that's what happens and you live with it. But I'd rather give it one more shot this way with a Vrabel, Dimitroff, and take my chances and see what happens. Maybe we can make the playoffs next year. I think we have a shot.
Rob, how was your Christmas?
It was good. It's good. I spent it with my family, of course, with my grandson at my sister's house. We had a lot of fun. It was good. The food was fabulous. And yes, Gary, I ate about 90% beef, and it was, but I did have a salad, so I don't know if I'm going to survive the next day.
Be careful.
But all good, all good. I just wanted to say, Merry Christmas to the Goombas out there and the Asmaniacs. Love you guys. Hopefully we have something to root for next year. And, we give it one more shot to the playoffs is what I'm hoping.
Rob, I hope they could be a playoff team at this time next year, no doubt.
Alan's wife.
What a show, folks, huh? Tremendous. Hit the like button before we get out of here. How about this from Nick Shine? 8 minutes behind, watching Rob V and Gary at 2x speed argue is the wildest thing I've ever seen on YouTube. And I've seen Bobby shirtless / Charles eat. Oh, yeah. Now, that was something. Rob V and Gary. Rob V wanted to get on the top 10 list for the month of December. A couple days left. Strong, compelling case today for the committee to decide. Let me tell you, March is going to be electric. As Maniac Madness, fill out your brackets, and each day on the show all month long, we play a different round of the bracket, a different matchup, and people will vote. Rich says, hit the like before you leave. Amen. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for the support. Thanks to everyone who listened on radio this morning. Reminder, Patreon users, discount in the merch store is now 20% off all items. Thank you for being loyal all year long. If you still want to join the Patreon, please do. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Bonus shows, Discord access, your name in the intro. A couple days left in December. So if you want your name added to the countdown ticker that we play before every show, make sure you join the Patreon. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Thank you all, as always, for tuning into the show and making it what it's all about. My name is Jake Asman. We're back with Will Parkinson later today. So stay tuned for a start time on that. Again, thank you all for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy holidays to all, and to all, a good night.
One of my first cards was in the 90s, the quarterback who went down with ACL.
What was the hand for? I don't understand. So like that was part of the story.
Oh, I do that.
You look like you have a massive hand.
No,
I mean, that's impressive, I guess.
ADHD, Brian. That's something that
What does it have to do with your hand?
Us 90 kids do a lot of dumb shit. But like, all I know is I studied the Jets quarterback play over the years, and then that's what I started to do as a kid, and then I got into football.
Get in the hole!